canceling my cable and just gonna do that because it's like $85 a month with Hulu TV because I've got HBO with it. So
and we're live now.
Oh, we are. Yeah. All right, good grief. I can't even. How did I not know this? Oh, there's the alert on my phone. How did I not know this? Okay. Hello, YouTube Nation.
All right, Reese here.
Yeah, Reese's here. Alyssa's here. Hey, Alyssa. This is so weird.
That's what that means.
Hey, Francine.
Okay, so that's how they get those little highlighted messages to appear at the bottom.
Yeah, I see that now.
This is my first time using StreamYard, so I'm still learning it.
Yeah, this is my first time too. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Chris. Already we've got trash talk. Chris, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna wait for a few more people, and then we're gonna get into what we're gonna talk about. Hey, Teresa.
Our respective team. So in this case, the Broncos and the Jaguars.
Yeah.
And then we're going to start
AFC South, AFC West. Yeah, AFC South, AFC West. You know, our respective divisions. Yeah, divisions.
And then we'll ramp down some of the other key signings that have been happening around the league, whether AFC or NFC.
Yeah. Of course, we all know about the big one, or one of the big ones, but we'll get into that in a few moments.
See, look, already Chris turned on him. Already Chris turned on him.
Chris, you're smart.
Hey, at least Chris isn't a bandwagon fan. At least Chris isn't a bandwagon fan.
That is true.
If there is one type of fan that I can't stand aside from Raiders fans, it's bandwagon fans.
Yeah, I can't stand Patriots fans. I can't stand Raiders fans. Like, there's like a few Patriots fans I will tolerate because I am really great friends with them, and I know that they're nice, like Chris and Mike's mom, because I adore her, and she is a diehard New England Patriot fan.
Most definitely.
Yes, I adore Mama Katie. I adore her.
I'm doing good, Reese. And what about you, Bree? How's this lockdown treating you?
Her face says it all, but nope. It's easy for him because he still gets to go to work. I work at 2 theme parks, so unless I'm going to the grocery store, or going to put gas in the car, I cannot go anywhere. And he knows me. I don't like to stay inside. I don't like to stay still for too long. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my mind. So I'm going crazy.
Dang, I'm sorry about that, Teresa.
Other than that, I'm fine. Oh, Teresa's here. Hi, Teresa. I'm so glad she's here.
So, Chris is obviously a Patriots fan. Teresa is an Eagles fan.
Nothing wrong with the Eagles. They are one of my NFC teams, but my main team is Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, so roll call. Who supports what team so far on the stream? We already know Teresa supports the Eagles. Chris supports the Patriots. Who supports what team?
Or if you even know what we're talking about, because a lot of people out there don't really know much about NFL football.
Actually,
or about the teams at least.
Actually, I think it was Michelle who we met that one night at Epcot when she was hanging out with Aaron, Tom, and I think it was Tanya. She messaged me earlier today and basically said, great, a stream that I'm going to know nothing about because I don't even follow sports.
Yeah, she messaged me about that too. And I'm just like, well, I'm just like, if you want to watch, I mean, it's a great way to learn. because that's what you and I, that's one of the things you and I bonded over, other than Disney, was football.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's one of the things that made our bond stronger, because we had a mutual love for football and a mutual dislike for a certain team that shall remain nameless.
Raiders.
Two teams.
Patriots.
Yeah. Chris says Darcy's a Steelers fan. That's actually cool, because one of my best friends, she is a die-hard Steelers fan. She was actually really ticked off with when the whole Antonio Brown thing went down. She was really ticked off. Yeah, well, she was ticked off with him. She wasn't ticked off with the team. She was ticked off with him, much like everyone else. I'm not even a die-hard Steelers fan, but I had enough respect for Antonio Brown. That literally made me look at him in a whole other light. And it really ticked me off. And apparently Tom is a Chargers fan. Tom's got to be a little bit upset about Phillip Rivers, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm. That's like, aren't they supposed to be moving into their new stadium this season, or is it next season?
I haven't heard a peep about that stadium since they announced it being built. So if they're going to move into it, they need to hurry up, because I'm starting to think that it doesn't even exist.
Mm-hmm. Although at this point, they're probably going to pause construction for a little bit.
Oh yeah, they are. Just like at other places, they're pausing construction. I know Disney's currently pausing construction right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're pausing all the construction. Like literally the day after the parks closed, they stopped construction.
Yeah, I think the only thing they were still doing inside the parks was painting the castle for the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, and they stopped that. They literally stopped that on after Monday.
Mm-hmm. But the only reason they did that was because it was Disney cast members who actually handled the maintenance of the castle doing it.
Yeah. Oh, Aaron's a Cowboys. That's right, Aaron is a Cowboys. I totally forgot. Aaron was a Cowboys fan.
Aaron is a Cowboys fan.
Yeah. Chris, not to really talk too much about Disney, but just an update. Disney has not released anything saying that they're opening April 9th. We still, as of right now, we're still supposed to open on April 1st, but we haven't been sent our schedules yet. We don't really know what's going on. We're hoping that they will, do like Universal did and extend when they're supposed to open until everything really calms down. But as of right now, we're supposed to reopen April 1st, but I don't know if that's going to stick. Just to put it out there, because we haven't been updated yet.
Well, also because there's that lockdown ordinance right now until the 9th.
Yes, and I believe Washington just said that just declared Florida a major disaster.
Yeah, because we're such a big tourist hotspot. I mean, we got Orlando, we got Miami, Palm Beach,
Well, I won't say Tampa. Siesta Key, Jacksonville. I'll say Jacksonville. There's Tallahassee.
All right. Yeah. Speaking of Jacksonville, let's get into this NFL trade talk. So what are some of the key players that you've signed, released?
Well, we're going to start with one of the big ones, which came as the biggest shock to Jaguar Nation. Calais Campbell, who was a defensive lineman for the Jaguars, he has been traded to the Baltimore Ravens. That really stuck a nerve into everyone. Like, he had just won the NFL Walter Payton Man of the Year award not that long ago. And to have it come out a few days later, because for the longest time, Jacksonville kept talking about Yannick Ngakoue, or I'm pretty sure that's how you say his name. They were talking about him wanting to leave because he's not getting a contract. There was all this drama with him last year because he held out until like 2 weeks before the start of the season. We all thought that it was going to be Ngakoue that was going to get traded or released, but it was Calais. And like I said, that really struck a nerve because he was our best player on the entire team. He was our captain, and now he's gone. I, I don't even know what to say because he had so many records. He's gone to the Pro Bowl at least 2 or 3 times. I was in complete another shock when they said it. Mike, do you have any thoughts? I know not really rivals of the Broncos, but you have any thoughts on Calais going to Baltimore?
Since you guys have for him in his career at that point, then I fully support it. But also, it's like, as we know, sometimes players don't really have a say in when they get traded because sometimes it'll be negotiated between head coaches of teams or, executives of the teams or another team and the player's agent. Like sometimes the player isn't even involved.
Yeah, like looking at his stats over the past few years, because he's only been in Jacksonville for like 3 years since 2017, because he was originally with the Arizona Cardinals, and then he got traded to Jacksonville. And looking at his numbers, like he put up monster numbers. Like last year alone, like 56 was a common. I want to say that's combinations. I have no clue what that means. You would think I would know this means by now. 19 assists, 6.5 sacks. Previous year, like he's been a beast since he's come to Jacksonville. Like every single year he's gone to the Pro Bowl. So that really struck a nerve with me. Another one that really caught me off guard, which I know Mike is really happy about because it works in his favor, was AJ Boye, another defensive player for the Jaguars. Mm-hmm. When he got traded to the Denver Broncos, I'm sorry. He knows I love him, but I'm sorry. But no. But
all right, Chris, is that a question for me or Brianna?
Wide receiver or your running back? That is a good question.
Well, because I think Denver just signed Melvin Gordon from the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, you guys
just add some good tutoring to some of our younger running backs, Devontae Booker, Phillip Lindsay. But I also don't think that he'll end up being the starter. I think with how Phillip Lindsay has played his rookie year and last year, that Phillip Lindsay will probably take starter.
But I don't know.
I think Chris said it was a question for you.
Chris said it was a question for me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, me. Oh, we haven't really had anything with our wide receivers. The only thing we've had with our wide receiver was Keelan Cole, and he just got franchise tagged for like the second time. So I have no idea what's really going on with that. I hope that they're smart enough to keep him because he is an amazing wide receiver when he is being thrown the ball. And he does know how to make amazing moves. But I don't know. Other than that, like we haven't really had anything with our wide receivers. I know we just signed a tight end or someone from the Bengals, Tyler Eifert, I want to say his name is. I can never pronounce these people's names, and I always feel guilty. Let's say it was Tyler Eifert. Yeah, it was from the Cincinnati Bengals. I believe it was a tight end.
Oh, I think Chris is talking about Jalen Ramsey.
Okay, first and foremost, Jalen Ramsey is a defensive cornerback, and he is no longer with the Jacksonville Jaguars as of last year. He got traded to the, I almost said St. Louis, Los Angeles Rams. And I have not heard a peep out of him since. And I'm very sad and disappointed with him, with how he handled that whole situation. I honestly thought they were going to try to keep him and work throughout the season with his agent to get him a new contract for this upcoming year. But the way he went about it was completely stubborn and wrong and childish. But that's just me. Like, I remember talking to Mike about it, and he knew how mad I was.
Oh yeah, you were really mad.
Yes, I was. I was not happy. And if you think I was not happy, probably don't want to talk to my mom because she was a diehard Ramsey fan because he went from FSU, which is a college team, to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is our favorite NFL team for obvious reasons. And for him to behave like that was just not okay. I mean,
although I think that's how it was for Tom Brady too. Right after the end of last season, was that his agent was apparently talking to other teams, or no, it wasn't.
Antonio Brown,
either Tom Brady or Julian Edelman. I think one of their agents was talking to other teams.
Edelman, it was Edelman.
Oh yeah, it was Edelman. Edelman's agent was talking to other teams about trading him without even talking to Julian about it, about whether that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing about it was that the Jaguars were never going to trade him. They were just going to work out a new deal for him for the next season. But Jalen, I guess something happened between him and Coach Doug Marrone, and it just escalated to the point where I thought it was over nothing. I thought, he just wasn't getting the right plays called or whatever the case was. But something happened. They know more in the offices than we do, but something clearly happened to where he started acting out. He wasn't showing up to practice. He wasn't showing up to games, which I don't know. But that's what happened with Jalen. But other than that, I'm not really sure about any wide receivers, or the only other thing I know about the offense is that we just signed someone from the Cincinnati Bengals, and I think he might be a good addition to the team because he is pretty good. Tyler is. But who was another one? Another player, which definitely shocked me a little bit, was Nick Foles, our quarterback, got traded to the Chicago Bears. That one shocked me only because and it always shocks me in this situation, he was only here for like one season. And he got hurt before regular season even started. And it frustrates me, not with him, but it frustrates me with the team because he had signed a 4-year deal worth $88 million. Yeah, exactly. That really frustrates me, and he was only here for one season. He didn't really get a chance to make that connection, that chemistry with the other players. And I noticed that over the past 10 years that it's one and done if you come from another team that's been a winning team, mainly because of you, and you're coming over and they're not gelling within the first year, or something happens within their first year of being on the team, then they're out. It makes no sense to me. I wish we could just go back to the 90s where it would take years for teams to build that chemistry and build that bond. I remember when the Jaguars first entered the league with Mark Brunell, Jimmy Smith, Fred Taylor, Coach Coughlin, Brad Meester, Tony Vassalli. It took them years to build that chemistry, and within the second year, they went to the playoffs and almost went to a Super Bowl.
And that was the thing. And that was the thing with the Broncos too, because I think we went to the Super Bowl in 1983 and we lost. And it took us another, I think, 13 years to go back, and that's when we won our back-to-back Super Bowls.
Well, take it from someone whose team has never even gone to a Super Bowl before in their lives. They've come extremely close and got knocked out because of a certain team I'm not going to mention right now. But
It wasn't my team, was it?
No, we literally knocked your team off, and then we knocked out Miami. We knocked out Denver, but it was before the Tom Brady era. Put it like that.
Oh, okay.
New England. It was before Tom Brady even got there, so I cannot put that on him. But
Hey, Amy, what's going on? Hey, Zoe.
Hey, Amy. Hey, Zoe. Welcome. But like I was saying, with the way that these teams are now, they're not getting enough time to really build that chemistry and that trust with each other. Because otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere if you keep moving people around. You're not going to go to the playoffs. You're not going to go to the Super Bowl. That is part of the reason why New England goes almost every year, because you've had Tom Brady there for years. You've had Rob Gronkowski there for years. You've had Edelman there for a while. You had Walker there. You've had all these people there. Belichick's been there since I was a kid.
Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft.
They've been there since I was a child.
It's that consistency with coaching, ownership, players that builds a strong foundation for a team. And that's why I feel that Denver's been doing poorly these last few years, is because we have coaches constantly coming in and out. We have players only playing. We signed players for a long time, but then we cut them after a year. In this case, Joe Flacco, we signed him for like a 4-year deal or something, but we just cut him.
Yeah.
Because he had a failed physical, which I'm not surprised considering his age.
Okay, that's why they cut him, was because of a failed physical?
Yep, I'm on NFL.com actually looking at the list of players they've cut, signed, people who've gone into free agency, and it says Joe Flacco, terminated, vested veteran, failed physical. So because he isn't up to, I guess, physical playing standards, that we cut him. But that's good because
that might be something that my mom has been talking to me about over the last couple of years, because he might have had something in his contract saying that he had to be maybe physically fit or like at a certain physical place to stay on the team. Whereas there's a lot of other players out there who are probably worse off than him, who are still on their teams but not playing.
I mean, chief among them, Ben Roethlisberger, he's getting up there in years, and he's had a few.
He needs to sit down. I'm sorry.
Injuries in his life.
If I can name 3 quarterbacks that need to just go ahead and sit down while they're ahead, it'd be Roethlisberger, Brady, and Phillip Rivers. I'm sorry to any fans out there, but that's just my own personal opinion. These guys have been playing since I was at least 10, 12 years old. It's time to sit down. But that's just me. If they think that they can go out there and do it, then go for it. I hope they prove me wrong. But especially
like
Roethlisberger.
Amy right here, the Steelers are a mess.
I hate to say it, but you're right. I'm sorry. Yes, they are. The Steelers are a mess. Don't get me started on my Jaguars. I love them to death. I bleed teal, black, and till I die. They're a mess. Plain and simple.
But it's not just down to Ben Roethlisberger, It's also down to the coordinators, the position coaches, how they're utilizing their players. It all ties together.
Yes, it does. But back to Nick Foles. He's been traded to the Bears. I'm not entirely sure, because it hasn't come out yet, whether or not he's if they picked up his contract or if he's negotiating a new one. It hasn't really come out yet as far as I know, but because he had 3 years left under that 4-year deal with the Jaguars. But he's now the Chicago Bears. I wish him nothing but the best. I really wish that it was a different situation here. But especially considering the fact that he got hurt, that wasn't really his fault. But I wish him nothing but the best, and I'm excited for Gardner Minshew to take over at a starting QB position. I think he can
played well last season, didn't he?
Yeah, he played really well. It's just that he didn't have a real offensive line to work with.
And see, I think that was
everyone kept getting hurt or was crying about their contracts, which I don't blame them. But unless you are literally on your last year of contract or you're on a tender, don't cry.
And that's a problem that's been plaguing Denver these last few years too, is the strength of our front five, our offensive line. That's been an issue that's been killing us these last few seasons. Because like our 2015 season when we had Peyton, when we won the Super Bowl, we built our entire offense around the offensive line and keeping Peyton safe from getting pressured so he could have time to find his target, release the ball and make accurate throws.
Yeah.
But now, ever since Peyton left, and we've changed coordinators like every season or every other season, it's hard to.
Yeah, it has been. I've noticed that with you guys too.
I will say this, and I really think this kid is going to be the future of our Broncos fan, is Drew Lock. That kid had a fantastic end to his season last year. He had a 4-1 win-loss record. Out of the 5 games he started, he threw for 17 TDs, 1,020 yards in 5 games. And I think he had like a 89.7 QB rating. Hey, Daniel Griswold here. And apparently he is a Titans fan.
Oh, Griswold family's here? Oh, yeah. Oh no, no. Why? Okay. I'm sorry, Griswold family. I love y'all to death, but go Jaguars. We'll be getting into your team a little later. Right now, we're just covering our teams. I think that pretty much did it for the Jaguars.
On Daniel's comment right here, he's referring to defensive lineman Jarrell Casey, who we got him from Tennessee in exchange for our 7th round 2020 draft. But it's like, honestly, I think defensively, I don't think Denver needs any more weapons because we have a really stacked defense. Like, we still have Von Miller. We still have Bradley Chubb. We still have Justin Simmons at safety. But now I think we did release Chris Harris Jr. I think he signed with another team. So that's going to be a slot that we're going to need to fill, either with a free agency signing or to trade up in the draft and draft someone.
Yeah.
Ooh, Daniel, low blow. Low blow, Daniel.
I haven't gotten anything. What?
I just posted his comment to the screen. That is such a low blow. Yeah, anyway.
I have no comment on the matter. Right. Except this. Whose mascot is better? Yours or Jacksonville? I win. Boom.
Let's keep the trash talking between you and me, Brianna. Let's not attack the subs. But yeah,
okay, just kidding. Yeah, just kidding. It's all love, Daniel. It's all love. That's all I gotta say. It's all love.
But I think Denver, we've made at least one offensive move to improve our offensive line when we signed Graham Glasgow. He's an offensive that we picked up from the Detroit Lions, I think it was. I have like a whole little chart made up here. Let me find it. But I'm pretty sure we signed him from the Detroit Lions. I haven't seen any game film from him yet, but I'm probably going to view some later just to see how he'll fit in, especially because now Denver just added Pat Shurmur as our offensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah, that's
good. Yeah, but that's also why we got our fullback, Andy Janovich, because Pat Shurmur doesn't really have he doesn't really use fullback in his offense much. So that's why we cut him. I think it's good using that I formation offense where it's offensive line, quarterback, fullback, running halfback, running back, it's going to be just offensive line, quarterback, running back.
Right.
And it's going to be more outside tosses or long, deep cuts. Maybe some up the middle routes if we're on goal line situations.
Right.
Landon is a Broncos fan. Hey, that's what's up, Daniel. But yeah, I don't blame him. I'm a big Von Miller fan too. Like, I've been a fan of Von's ever since we signed him, and he's just continued to get better and better every season, in my opinion.
Oh, I'm just now seeing what Amy said about the Jaguars not signing Tim Tebow. I just now saw that.
I don't think Tim Tebow is going to
I agree. I agree. I think it was only because he really wanted to spread his wings, and plus he idolized John Elway. So the fact that he was picked up. Yeah. Wait, what?
I think Tim Tebow got a bad rep because he played really well with us. He got us to Denver's first playoff run for a very long time. It's like everyone probably remembers the infamous play when Tim Tebow threw our game-winning touchdown on the first drive of overtime, or on the first play even of overtime. He threw a quick slant route to Demaryius Thomas, and he went 80 yards.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Tim Tebow was the only reason why I even really started paying more attention to the Broncos than what I already was, but I just never really stopped after he left. I was kind of really ticked off that he got traded to, where did he go? The Jets? Yeah, he went to the Jets. I was this close to getting a Broncos jersey, and then they go and send him to the Jets to get Peyton Manning. I was kind of really upset because they did the same thing to him that the Jets did to, oh gosh, what's his name? Chad Pennington. Because the Jets had gotten Brett Favre, and they sent Chad Pennington to the Dolphins. That's what made me upset. I was this close to getting a Broncos jersey. But that's what made me upset. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it was probably for the best.
Well, yeah, Amy actually said that Tim Tebow beat the Steelers. So that's who we beat, and I think it was the wild card.
Yeah, it was.
I think we lost next week to New England.
Yeah, you did. I was really upset because I wanted y'all to win.
And then Daniel said this right here. We are Oklahoma State people, Amy, and our QB Mason Rudolph got beat up by his own helmet. Yeah, that was a shocking moment this season. That
was like the most mortifying thing I had ever seen in my, at the time, 28, now 29 years of being on this earth. Who does this? It's not okay.
Mason Rudolph doesn't seem like that big of a guy. In terms of some of the quarterbacks that have been coming out recently, he's a fairly small quarterback. So the fact that he went after a very big defensive lineman, that's a big mistake. But that does not give that lineman in question the right to take Rudolph's helmet and bash him over the head with it.
Yeah, exactly. That was really not. I don't think Rudolph was really the same after that. As far as his head, as far as the experience was concerned, I really don't think that he was okay after that. He could tell me, he could say otherwise. The organization can say otherwise, but I really don't think he was okay after that. I hope is feeling much better, and I hope he can come back stronger than ever this year because he was balling, but that was just not okay on any
part. He didn't show any signs of being hurt, but I think that's just because it was the emotion and the adrenaline.
Oh yeah.
He didn't feel a thing, but I think after a while he felt it.
Yeah, it might have. It's like whenever I get hurt, sometimes my pain doesn't usually kick in until later after the fact. If it's really that painful, it usually doesn't kick in until after the fact because of all the emotion and adrenaline that's running through me. But it probably really did hurt him much later because of everything that was going on. But like I said, I hope he can. I hope he's feeling much better, and I hope he has a better season. I'm not exactly a big Steelers fan, but I don't like seeing anyone get hurt for the most part. But
Although
yeah.
I also think it's good to see like new blood coming into the NFL and carving their own path.
Yeah, I do. I do too. Like, absolutely. That's why I get a little frustrated when I
2009 season, from the 2009 season up till like 2016, 2017, it was pretty much the same old faces playing, whether it was quarterback, wide receiver, offensive line, defensive line, cornerback. It was the same old faces. Nothing really changed. But now we're starting to give rookies more of a chance to actually play and make a name for themselves.
Yeah.
Like the Drew Lock, Deshaun Hamilton, Cortland Sutton. Those guys did really well last season. Like
they did.
Cortland Sutton, he had 72 receptions for 1,112 yards. He averaged 15.4 yards per play, and he got 6 TDs. Now, granted, with all those receiving yards, I think he could have had a few more TDs.
Yeah. I can't even pull up the stats really for Gardner Minshew, except that he's appeared in 14 games. Oh, no, here it is. I take it back. It's right here. Gardner Minshew, 14 games, 3,271 passing yards, 21 passing touchdowns, and 6 interceptions to go with the 67 carries for 344 yards in his rookie season. That's really impressive considering the circumstances he was dealt.
Oh, yeah, and I think it was the same for Drew Lock's game. I think it was against Houston. I think he threw for over like 300 yards, and I think he threw like 2 or 3 TDs. And I don't know if you remember this, but Houston had a really good defense last year. So the fact that a rookie, and I think Drew was I think he was a first or second round pick. But the fact that a rookie came in and played that well against a really good defense in Houston was pretty impressive.
Oh yeah. Well, I know for a fact Houston had a good defense because we played them twice. Whether JJ Watt was on the field or not, I think he got hurt last year again too, but if I'm not mistaken. But whether he was on the field or not, they had a darn good defense. But speaking of Drew Lock, did you want to? Oh, hang on. There's Will.
It's like Daniel brings up a good point here.
Very surprised Jason went.
I'm very surprised by that too.
I think that was another big one that was that like shocked the nation. I think we're gonna get into that one maybe a little bit later. But yes, I thought he was gonna be in Dallas for life. He left ESPN to go back to Dallas. But we might get into that one maybe a little bit later because we're gonna talk about some of the bigger shocks around the league after we get through with our division. So, Mike, was there any? Because I got cut off a little bit earlier, but was there anything that you mentioned about the Broncos, about their trading, signings?
Well, obviously we lost Chris Harris Jr.
Yeah.
I think we lost a few other people. We released defensive lineman Billy Wynn, which he had a good couple seasons with Denver. But now when we traded Janet to Cleveland, we acquired 2021 draft. Obviously, that doesn't do us any good this season because we gave away our 7th round pick.
Oh yeah.
To get Jarrell Casey. But it's like, with like Jarrell Casey, AJ Boye, Graham Glasgow, Melvin Gordon, I think Elway has done a decent bit of work in the offseason, but we still have a long way to go. Denver still has a long way to go to building up to the capabilities that I know we have to play at the standards that I know the Denver Broncos have played throughout the years for they were established in 1960. So I think this will be our 60th season in the NFL. So I know that it's not going to happen overnight, but I think the Broncos can get back up to where we've been before. Hey, Rachel Myers, the Monopoly fan.
Hey, Rachel.
Oh, yeah, and Daniel was wondering if you play fantasy football.
Wait, who? What?
Daniel was wondering if you play fantasy football.
Yes, Daniel, I do actually. I do play fantasy football. I had been out of it for the past couple of years because I had stuff going on in my personal life, but I did start playing it again last season. I actually made it all the way to the Super Bowl and then lost with one of my teams. I had like maybe 2 or 3 teams, and only one of them made it to the championship game, and then I lost.
Yeah, it's like those are only the real signings I can think of as far as Denver goes. Ng Boye, Jarrell Casey, Melvin Gordon, and Graham Glasgow. Those are the only real big ones I can think of.
And I'm extremely salty about AJ Boye.
The only other signings we've done have been like rookie signings for their second year, some free agent signings. That's about it.
Yeah, I think with Jacksonville, I think we signed. Who else did we sign? Signed Eifert from the Bengals. We signed. There was someone else. Joe Schobert, an inner linebacker from the Cleveland Browns. That was apparently a big signing or a big trade from Cleveland for Jacksonville. Apparently, he's a big name. But okay, yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what he all does this year. Sadly, I never really heard of him because I don't really pay that much attention to Cleveland except for everything I've heard about Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield. But you don't really hear about anyone else on that team, sadly. But, I mean, he must be pretty good. Schobert. Oh, here he is, Schobert.
Daniel said this. He said, "Nice. I can see you and the wife going head to head. She won both leagues she was in last season."
Oh my gosh. I appreciate that, and let her know next year to hit me up on Instagram. We'll exchange NFL fantasy, and we'll go from there. We'll keep track of it. But Joe Schobert from Cleveland. Okay, now looking at him. Football linebacker.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think I'm pretty much done covering Denver's side of things. So now I'm going to start moving on to our division.
Our division? Okay.
Yep.
Did you start this time since I started last time?
Yep. So I'm looking at the Chiefs currently, and they haven't been very active when it comes to signing people from other teams, surprisingly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from what I've seen so far from the NFL website, they've only signed 3 different players: Antonio Hamilton, a cornerback, offensive tackle Mike Remmers, and quarterback Chad. I'm not sure how to say his last name. It's spelled Henne.
Oh, Chad Henne.
Yeah.
Chad Henne. He used to play for the Jaguars.
Yeah.
He used to play for the Jaguars, and then he went to Washington. Now he's with then he went to the Chiefs.
And apparently they re-signed him.
The Chiefs?
Yeah, because it says on March 19th he was an unrestricted free agency signing.
Okay. Yeah. Oh wait. Hang on. He went to. Okay. He was where was he? He was Miami.
Now,
He was
I don't think
Miami.
that's a trade. I don't think the Chiefs have traded. I don't think the Chiefs have really traded for anyone. I think they've just been re-signing some of the key weapons that they feel they have. So it's Mike Remmer, who I think was one of their big offensive line weapons last year. Antonio Hamilton and Chad Henne.
Like Hennessy.
Henne.
Yeah, like Hennessy, but without the C.
Okay. C.
Yeah, Henne.
Got it. All right. Yeah, I don't think they've done any trades so far. I think Kansas City right now is focusing on rebuilding their team with the weapons that they already have before they start looking at adding free agents. And then if they miss free agency, they're probably just going to start focus on picking people out of the draft.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I think they're going to have the 32nd pick in the first round. But I have a feeling that they don't want to be the low man on the totem pole and settle for the last pick of the first round. I have a feeling they might trade up and try and get someone.
Oh, yeah. They might. Wouldn't surprise me.
Because there are a lot of people that they have who have expired contracts. Anthony Sherman, Matt Moore, Reggie Ragland, DeMarcus Robinson, Cameron Irving, Darren Lee, Keith Razor, Spencer Ware, David Wells. They have a lot of players whose contracts are expiring.
Yeah.
Terrell Suggs' contract expired.
Oh, that's right. Suggs stick. Yeah, I heard some crazy rumor that Suggs might go to Jacksonville. I'm like, that sounds so far-fetched, but nothing surprises me anymore.
But yeah, it's like also right next to where it says his contract was expired, it also says that he's a reserve unrestricted free agent.
Oh. Yeah, that'll do it.
So I think they've either got him under reserve to negotiate a new contract later, or they've released him. I'm not really sure which.
It's one or the other.
Because they don't really release a lot of details on the NFL website.
Not anymore, they don't. They used to, but not anymore.
Because think about it, negotiations like that are pretty much secretive. They usually only occur between the player, his agent, and whatever teams he's looking to play for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's been going on with some of the other teams in the AFC South?
Well, other than all the drama in Jacksonville, obviously it came out last week that with the Houston Texans, it's another big one. DeAndre Hopkins, their biggest offensive weapon, was unexpectedly traded to the Arizona Cardinals. I think he signed like 2 years or something. I forget what it was.
I wonder how much that contract's going to be worth.
I was trying to find it. I had it earlier, but I can't find it anymore. They're taking so much stuff off the internet. I was trying to find it. DeAndre Hopkins contract. Oh, nope, trade. Even better.
All right.
Trade. Yeah, well, while I'm looking up the trade here, apparently, because I remember waking up that morning and I had fell asleep because I like to fall asleep with ESPN on because I like to know what's going on before I go to bed when I wake up in the morning. But I woke up to the tail end of Get Up with Mike Greeny, and apparently Michael Irvin was on video on the show talking about DeAndre Hopkins and about his conversation with him, and he had apparently told DeAndre had apparently told Michael Irvin that that he had met with Bill O'Brien, the head coach, who apparently also has a lot of control over trading. He's basically the GM as well as the um, head coach. But apparently, it was a very heated conversation. Like, it did not go well, and apparently he brought up the fact that Bill O'Brien had brought up the fact that he doesn't like how DeAndre has all these kids by all these different women, which I'm like, leave the kids out of it. Like, that, unless it is directly affecting the team and him personally, leave the kids out of it. That's his own personal business. I don't need to know about that. You don't need to know about that. The world does not need to know about that. Leave the kids and the personal stuff out of the locker room or out of the office. That's a big no-no. So apparently it got heated, and that day he got traded. Which I'm like, well, what? So I'm still trying to find that contract thing. Okay, currently everything. No, that's not it. They take everything down now. I can't find it right now, and I wish I had it because I had it not that long ago. But
yeah, I think they're starting to keep like contracts.
They're announced as the story is breaking, but
I think details of the contract are being kept more under wraps now.
Yeah, they are being unless it's literally announced like on ESPN or on NFL Network or on any of the like sports stations or like that. Like it'll be on there, but as far as looking it up is concerned, on the internet on your own time, I think they're keeping them down now. But he was traded, and apparently it wasn't pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like a lot of players.
But that's just going to mess up DeAndre Watson because, like a few days later, I started hearing that Deshaun Watson, the quarterback, possibly wanted out of Houston now because he doesn't have his weapon. And I kept hearing rumors, New England. So I'm like,
yeah, because obviously.
I can't process this. Mike, please take over for right now. I can't process this whole thing.
Yeah, because obviously now that New England doesn't have Tom Brady anymore, and they also don't have
They don't have.
Well, I was gonna say that whoever they're.
I can't say his name. Gostowski.
Or not him. Whoever their backup quarterback was that they traded to the Redskins, Garoppolo. Now that they don't have Brady and Garoppolo at quarterback.
No, Garoppolo's in San Francisco.
Yeah, now that New England traded away Garoppolo a few seasons ago and now don't have Brady.
They don't even have
They're probably going to be in the market for a somewhat veteran quarterback. Just because I don't think they want to have another Tom Brady situation where they start with a rookie.
Well, actually, they didn't really start with a rookie. They had Brian. Actually, they brought back Brian Hoyer because I think Hoyer was originally with the Patriots, and then something happened with him back in the day, and they put Tom Brady in there, and Tom Brady's been the starter ever since. Hoyer's the one who's been going all over the place. But I think they literally brought Hoyer back to New England. But I still think that they're going to try and draft a quarterback, or maybe now that, and we'll get into this later, Cam Newton is free of Carolina, they might talk to him for all we know.
Yeah, I definitely think New England is going to want to add a veteran, obviously not a super veteran quarterback to their ranks, but they're going to want to add someone who has at least a few years under their belt. So they have someone who actually knows what they're doing, because they don't want to throw in a rookie to be a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
It's like I think the only reason that Denver did that with Drew Lock is because I think Joe Flacco was injured.
Yeah, he was injured and they didn't have many other options. So,
but that's also because Drew Lock showed promise with how he was playing in practice and how he played in the preseason. Because he played on, I think it was the All-Star game at the start of the season, and he did really well in that game.
Yeah.
But also, I think Drew, before that, was playing in the regular season instead of Joe, but Drew went down with that hand injury, which put him out for a few weeks. But he kept playing and rehabbing, and then he came back and did really well.
Yeah. Same thing happened in Jacksonville. Like I said, Nick Foles was going to be the starter. Minshew was drafted. Foles goes down. We had another quarterback, but I forget who it was, and I really liked him too. But then something happened with him. Gardner goes into the game, and it was literally Foles and Minshew the entire season. Because Foles, as soon as he got back, I knew he was not 100%. Like, even after the allotted time, I knew he was not 100%. He got hurt. He just was not performing. Gardner went back in there. It was really back and forth. It ended up being Gardner at the end of the day. But as we were talking about Houston. But yeah, as far as Houston's concerned, I think they need to do whatever it takes to keep Deshaun Watson there, because with Hopkins now gone, I don't know.
That was their main offensive target.
I don't know how deep they are at wide receivers or running backs, but he's going to be your. Oh wait, never mind. They signed Randall Cobb. Never mind. They signed Randall Cobb, who's a wide receiver, a veteran wide receiver. So,
I mean, from what I know about him, I'm not familiar with Randall Cobb, but from what I hear, he's a really good wide receiver. He played for Green Bay, right?
Yes, he played for Green Bay forever. I think he played with Brett Favre too when he was there. Like, he played with Brett Favre when it was his last in Green Bay, and he also played with Aaron Rodgers. I think he was in Washington too at one point. But yeah, Randall Cobb's been around for a while, but he's a beast when he's got the ball in his hands. So it might be a good thing for Deshaun Watson, because he's going to have a veteran there who knows what he's doing, who can, teach him a few things. But I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, with their wide receivers, as far as I know, because I'm not seeing anything else as far as the offense is concerned, other than that they signed A.J. McCarron from the XFL, and he's a quarterback. So he's going to have a backup.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Daniel from Griswold Family Vacay brought this up about 10 minutes ago, and it's a fitting that I'm now going to start discussing the Chargers, is that Phillip Rivers is now going to play in Indianapolis.
Yeah, that'd be up my alley, AFC South.
But it's like, so then, now that the Los Angeles Chargers have gotten rid of their starting quarterback, who you think they're going to try and sign someone? Or do you think they're going to try and grab someone in the draft?
Ooh, the Chargers? Chargers are AFC South, though. That's... Oh, wait, that's you, though. Oh, that's you. I'm like, Chargers are AFC South. They might try to grab someone in the draft. I don't think they're going to try to get Tua. I think Tua might end up going to Miami. But who else would it be? Because I think Burrow might. I know he's in talks to possibly go to Cincinnati or somewhere, because they need a quarterback, because I don't think Dalton's really doing anything. But who else could possibly get? Maybe Cam Newton as a veteran. There's so many options.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking too. Because you said that New England might try and go chase Cam Newton, but I think that because Los Angeles just got rid of their longtime starter, that they might try and go out and get a veteran before they try and draft someone.
I still think they might draft someone, but I mean, as far as getting a veteran concerned, it wouldn't surprise me. Right now, like I said, the only veteran out there right now that I know of is Cam Newton. because Teddy Bridgewater just got sent to the Panthers, which is why Cam Newton's no longer there. Phillip Rivers said adios, moved to Florida, and now he's going to Indianapolis. Tom Brady just signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which we are going to get into later. Trust me, guys. But I really don't know who else would be out there. Aaron Rodgers isn't leaving Green Bay anytime soon. Drew Brees is definitely not going to leave New Orleans unless he retires, which might actually happen within the next couple of years. But
Drew Brees is going to retire a Saint.
He's going to retire a Saint. He is going to retire a Saint. I know everyone's saying that he should probably go ahead and retire now, but even though he's 41 years old, he's been killing it at the quarterback position.
I mean, Drew.
I say play on, Drew Brees, play on, because he doesn't even look like he's 41 years old. He looks really good at the quarterback position right now, but so he's not going to leave New Orleans. Tongue twister.
It's okay. They both start with new.
Yeah. Who else was there? Matt Stafford. I really don't think he's going to ever leave Detroit unless heck freezes over. Unless the white freezes over, I don't think he's going to leave Detroit. Derek Carr is literally probably on his last leg in now Las Vegas, but before Oakland. But
now also on that note of Oakland, of the Raiders moving from Oakland to Vegas, do you think if this whole thing continues on closer to the NFL season, if they'll postpone the move?
Oh, with the possibly, because I don't know how far along they are with that stadium. They said that they're almost done, but I really don't know. But they've already closed down the old one last I checked, and it's too hard to tell, especially considering no one has practiced. No one has really met with anyone. Like all the meetings and all the trades and everything, it's all being done over the phone, over Skype probably.
And that's a good point because
and via fax, which I'm sure a lot of the coaches feel really guilty about doing that because they would prefer to break the news to a lot of these players, especially the ones who have been there forever and have contributed so much to not just the team, but to the communities. So I really don't, it's too hard to tell. The way things are right now, it wouldn't surprise me. They just postponed the Olympics, and that's not until August. So for all I know, they're not going to postpone the draft. They're just not going to have people there.
Yeah, so Daniel brought up this point is that Tyrod Taylor, he thinks, is the backup for the Chargers. So
it might be a competition depending on who else they sign. Tyrod Taylor either might be the starter, or if they sign another quarterback, depending on who it is, it might be a competition. Just like it was in Jacksonville last year, because we honestly didn't know who it was going to be until they literally said Nick Foles, and then he went down. But it might be a competition in, I keep wanting to say San Diego. It's been San Diego forever. LA with the Chargers. It might be a competition there. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, so back to the Chargers trades and everything so far. From what I'm reading in their transactions list on NFL, they've only traded for one player so far, and that's offensive guard. I think that's Trell Turner.
I've heard of that name.
Most of the other transactions I'm seeing are like reserved, unrestricted free agents, expired contracts, qualifying offer. Because we all know, obviously, Phillip Rivers,
the big one, which I'm
Melvin Gordon's now with Denver.
Yeah, that shocked the heck out of me. I saw I'm like, Michael must be jumping up and down, screaming, "Thank you!"
Well, I'm definitely happy with the free agency signings that Elway has made so far, but I know we have a long way to go before we can be the team that I know Denver can be. Yeah, Daniel brings up this point is that And I'm kind of inclined to agree. I think that the Los Angeles Chargers would be a better place for Cam than
Go ahead.
now. However, I think Cam Newton learning under Bill Belichick would be good for his career. I think he could learn a lot from Bill Belichick when it comes to play calling and all of that. LA was a fairly good team last year, I think.
The Chargers? I started to say which one. There's two. The Chargers. Yeah, they were fairly good. I honestly thought that this might actually be Phillip Rivers' year to go to a Super Bowl,
or at least the playoffs.
Well, I mean, he's no stranger to going to the playoffs. He's been to the playoffs before. I've seen him play in the playoffs. But the way they were looking, I thought, maybe they might actually go to the Super Bowl. They look like they have a good chance. But unfortunately, that did not happen. But as far as what you said about Cam Newton going to New England to learn under Bill Belichick, as much as I don't like the Patriots, I do have respect for Bill Belichick. He is a very good head coach, and I think that would be a good fit. I know he's probably never going to leave New England unless something major happens, but I don't know. I mean, if there was a way for it to be Cam Newton with Chargers with Bill Belichick as the head coach, then he's going to.
It's going to be a one or the other. Either Cam.
If there was a way to move Bill Belichick, then that would be ideal because I think the Chargers organization would be better fit for him. But there's
Bill Belichick is just
Bill Belichick's going to leave.
Mm-hmm. So I think Cam has one of two choices. Either, or he has three major choices that I can see from right now. Either he takes a season off, he signs with New England, or he signs with LA, or with another team that decides to pick him.
Yeah.
Because he could learn a lot from Bill Belichick, but I think it would really help the Chargers to have Cam play there.
Yeah, because I think with Bill Belichick, I think it would help Cam be more grounded and more focused. Because I've noticed, and this might just be me, over the past few years, I don't know how to say this without coming off as rude or. I've noticed a change in Cam Newton. I'll put it like that. I noticed a huge change in Cam Newton from the time he was drafted to now. I've noticed a huge change, and I'm not talking about his wardrobe either, although that is a contributing factor.
Yeah, because
I'm talking about that. I'm talking about a change in him and in his work ethic and how he is around his teammates. I've just noticed a complete change in how he is with his coaches.
Well, because I noticed that too, because he was drafted in 2012.
Yeah.
And the Panthers still had a rough couple of seasons. Then the 2015 season comes. They sign a few players. They change around some of the coaching staff. And all of a sudden, Carolina just comes out of the gate full speed ahead. And they just dominate through the entire NFC. But then they get to the Super Bowl. They get to Super Bowl 50. And my team, Denver, just comes in and just steamrolls them. Now, granted, I'm not saying Denver's offense was the best because it wasn't. But our defense was just that good. We just came in there and just steamrolled them. I noticed even from right after the game, Cam's demeanor changed.
Yeah.
He went from being the strong, confident leader of a quarterback to just this beaten down,
spoiled brat.
Yeah. Even in his post-game press conference, I'm pretty sure everybody saw this moment, was when he was sitting at the podium, sweater on, hood up, just leaned back, just whatever. And then he literally gets up mid-press conference and just walks out. Because Chris Harris Jr. was just behind him at another podium talking about how Denver had their offense broken down and how they knew their strategies and all this. I mean, granted, I think they could have set that up a little better to have the players a little more separated.
They should have just took place in the locker room, which is where I thought they all took place after the game, but I didn't realize that until I watched the that Super Bowl's interviews and I saw it. I'm like, okay, that's odd.
Yeah, it's like right from that moment when he walked up and left the press conference, after that, the Panthers just went downhill. And they started to look like the Panthers that they were in 2012, 2013, 2014.
Honestly, if it wasn't for Luke Kuechly in that defense, the Panthers probably would not be relevant. And I'm sorry to any Panthers fans out there, but it's the truth. Luke Kuechly pretty much held that team together because Cam just.
Well, not to mention Todd Davis Sr.
Who?
Todd Davis Sr., number 58 for Carolina. He was their other big linebacker.
Sorry, I only paid attention to Luke Kuechly. Everyone else, I was just like, who?
Yeah, it's like they also had Jonathan Stewart at running back. He was a big key in their offense. They had Ted Ginn, who was their receiver.
Yeah, Ted Ginn I knew. But
yeah. So it's like I think so far in the offseason, when it comes to the AFC West, there hasn't been a whole lot going on. But now I'm about to get into the team that both you and I.
Hold up. Hey, hold up. I did not go over the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh yeah, go over the Colts. So obviously Phillip Rivers is the big signing there.
Yes, yes, that was a big one because I honestly thought he was going to retire because he moved to Florida. He was his entire family in Florida. I thought he was going to retire because this is the retirement capital of the world, other than Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he signed with the Colts for
one. Because given that he'll be playing in Indianapolis now, he'll be a little bit closer to where he'll be playing. And also, I think Indianapolis plays a lot of the teams in this southern area and up the eastern seaboard. So I think it'll be
Indianapolis has 3 teams they have to really focus on: Houston, Jacksonville, and Tennessee. Oh wait, I didn't even go over the Titans. Shoot.
Yeah, it's like what else does Indianapolis play?
Sometimes they play.
Also in the AFC North, you have the Baltimore Ravens, you have the Cincinnati Bengals, you have the Cleveland Browns, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers. All those are right in that area.
But it's not like a consistent thing with those teams. It's not a consistent thing where they're always playing each other. But I don't know I don't know how they're going to do the schedule this year. I only know the four AFC South teams play each other twice. But back to the Indianapolis Colts. Phillip Rivers signed 1 year for $25 million. Wow, lucky guy. I think they actually re-signed their offensive tackle, Anthony Costanza. They re-signed him. I actually have this right here. He re-signed a 2-year deal worth $33 million.
Oh, yeah, so Daniel just said here, AFC South will be a 2-team race. Daniel, what teams are those? What teams do you think are going to be really going head-to-head in the AFC South?
Well, considering last year it was Indianapolis and Houston, no one really threw Tennessee into the ring until they made the playoffs.
Which, on that note, Tennessee had a really good playoff run last year.
They really did. With Ryan, I'm glad. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm glad they're keeping Ryan Tannehill because if they let him go, that would have been
after that season. They're going to keep him.
Yeah, they kept him. They just re-signed him to a new deal, and I have it here in just a second. Ryan Tannehill, where is it? Yep, Ryan Tannehill signed a 4-year deal worth $118 million. So I think he's going to be there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was like he re-signed with them They also re-signed Derrick Henry to a one-year deal worth $10.278 million. It was a franchise tag.
Hmm.
Who else?
Yeah, it's like I think the fact that they only signed Rivers to a one-year contract is because Indy wants to see how he plays and how he does in Indianapolis, and then if he does well, they'll probably extend his contract.
Yeah, I think
they don't want to sign him to a multi-year contract and have him not play well his first season, and then they cut him, and then they'll owe him like a guaranteed amount of money. Like they don't want to sign him to a 3-year, $55 million contract with $25 million guaranteed, have him only play one season, and then have to pay him $25 million.
Yeah, I think that's the case too. And the Colts re-signed their other offensive tackle, LaRaven Clark. I have no clue what his contract entails, but he has been re-signed. They haven't re-signed any restricted free agents. They don't have any tender. Unrestricted ones as far as I know. But
this year that they got defensive tackle DeForest Buckner off of trades. So, which means they either traded a player out or they traded for a pick.
Yeah, I didn't see that on there, but that was. When did you see that? Because I'm not seeing that on here.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm looking at the NFL's list of transactions for each team.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Oh, wait, that's old. So it says on the 18th that DeForest Buckner was traded. But then it says on the 19th, it said he was signed with a renegotiated contract. They also re-signed Anthony Castonzo on a renegotiated contract.
That was one I just said, 2 years, $33 million. I literally just said that.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's like they have a lot of unrestricted free agents.
Yeah, they do.
Some of the big ones, obviously.
Yeah,
LaRaven Clark, Adam Vinatieri, Devin Funchess, Marcus Johnson, Isaiah Johnson.
Yeah, they have not been signed yet, as far as I know right now. They have not been signed. I know they sent their tight end Eric Ebron. Where did they send him? He's going to Pittsburgh. Yeah, Ebron's going to Pittsburgh. Their offensive lineman Josh Andrews signed with the Jets. Joe Haig, I think it's his name. I'm pretty sure. He's an offensive lineman. He's going to Tampa Bay to be with the Buccaneers and Tom Brady. The only trade that they had was they actually traded DeForest Buckner. No, they traded for DeForest Buckner from San Francisco.
Okay.
Yeah, so he came from San Francisco. Everyone else is like unrestricted free agents, like a kicker, Chase McLaughlin signed a 1-year deal worth $675 million. They also signed a safety named Roland Milligan for the same deal.
Oh, wow.
And a wide receiver, Darius Fountain, I think that's his name. Same deal, 1 year, $675,000.
Okay, so he's probably like a second or third year player. That's probably why his contract is so little.
Yeah, Milligan was signed a 1 year, $675,000. Same with Chase McLaughlin. They signed a tight end named Mo Ali Cox and a wide receiver Zach Pascal to 1 year deals worth $750,000. I mean, that's pretty much everything Indianapolis has done for right now, which is a lot, but not really, because they still have all those other free agents that they have to deal with. But what has Tennessee done other than?
All right. Daniel said that here for Buckner, the Niners will get a number 13 pick. What round is that in, Daniel? I'm guessing that's not first round because no one wants to get rid of a pick that high.
Yeah. That's what
I'm
I'm
guessing
guessing.
it has to be like a third, fourth, or fifth round pick, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing too.
Yeah, so now that we're moving on to the final teams in our respective divisions, you for Tennessee and me for a team that you and I both equally dislike. I won't use the H word, but a team that you and I both equally dislike, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go first.
All right, go for it, babe. Go for it, babe.
Okay.
What has Las Vegas done other than bring in Marcus Mariota? That's all I know.
I have no idea. I'm waiting for the page to load still. It's being stubborn.
Okay, well, while you get your page loaded, I'll go ahead with Tennessee. So other than the Titans re-signing Ryan Tannehill, which, like I said, thank goodness they did, even though that's a disadvantage to Jacksonville, but that would have been a stupid mistake if they didn't. They also had a few other signings. They actually signed an offensive linebacker by the name of Vic Beasley. I know that was a big one. He signed a 1-year deal.
Oh, Vic Beasley.
Yeah, his deal was worth up to $12 million, but he gets $9.5 million guaranteed, which I've heard of him before.
That's still a good amount of change. That's still a good chunk of change to get guaranteed.
I'm getting
That's like 3/4 of that contract.
I'm pretty much getting all the change details as far as these contracts are concerned with Tennessee. But Vic Beasley, I forget who he played for, but I remember him being a really good offensive linebacker. I just can't remember who he played for. Goodness. And the Titans, FYI, they still have about $25 million worth of cap space left. So, and Daniel says it's the first round. Number 13 pick in the first round. That is wow.
That's a pretty bonehead move to give away a pick that high for one player. Like,
oh my gosh.
I mean, to give away a top 15 pick for one player, it's like me personally, I probably wouldn't have done that. I probably would have let that player stay where they are, and I would have just drafted someone.
I had to laugh at his reaction because but I do agree with you on that though, Mike. I do agree that is a bonehead move. It was just funny how you said it. That's all it was. It was just funny how you said it.
Yeah. And I understand, Daniel, about you wanted Jarrell Casey to stay in Tennessee. Because, like, I've seen some footage of him playing from his over-the-phone press conference that he did with the Broncos. And he's a solid player. He's got a lot of power to him, and he's got a lot of strength coming up the middle. It's like he has a good ability to get to quarterbacks and running backs in the backfield. He really does.
Yeah. Who else was? Oh, I see it right here. To the Broncos for a 7th round pick. Okay. Yep. Who else was there? Linebacker. Yep. Nick. I can't say this name. I want to say it's Zuber. It's like DZU, B as in boy, N as in not AR. I can't pronounce that. But he got a 1-year deal. I have no.
It's probably Zunar or something.
Yeah, probably. It doesn't say how much he's getting. It just says 1-year deal. So they're probably just going to see how he gels with the team before giving him something long term. As far as the re-signs are concerned, obviously Ryan Tannehill got re-signed. Derrick Henry re-signed a 1-year deal worth $10.278 million. It was a franchise tag, which I would have thought they would have given him more considering he's been their star running back since the day he was drafted. So I'm kind of shocked that they didn't sign him to something long term. So there must be something going on with him that we don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know about these teams anymore. Mike, are you still there? I think Mike is frozen right now. Okay. Well, while Mike works out his kinks, I'm gonna keep going. And it's just me. Wow. Okay. I wish I did, but okay. Mike's gonna figure out the kinks. I'm gonna keep going with my stuff here. Okay, where was I? Oh, Tennessee, duh. Okay, let's see, I did Derrick Henry. Who else was here? They re-signed a tight end by the name of Cole Pruitt. There's no details on how long he's going to be there for. I imagine maybe 1 or 2 years. I don't really know because I've never heard that name before in my life, but that's for Tennessee. Who else did they re-sign? They re-signed a right tackle by the name of Dennis Kelly. He signed a 3-year deal worth $21 million. All these people getting over $1 million. Lucky. Boy. Yeah, I vaguely remember Dennis Kelly from last season. He is pretty talented. I do remember that name. He's pretty gifted. Who else is here? Got Reggie Gilbert. He's an offensive linebacker. He actually re-signed to a 1-year deal with the Tennessee Titans. What's here? Wide receiver Cameron Batson. I remember that name because he was everywhere. He re-signed a 1-year deal, as well as tight end Anthony Firkser. He signed a 1-year deal. Obviously, the big trade with Tennessee was Marcus Mariota, quarterback. He got traded to the not Oakland. He got traded to the Las Vegas Raiders. I thought I heard something about his deal. I thought it was like 2 years, like $21 million or something along that line. I really cannot confirm that for sure, but that's the last thing I heard. Yeah. Oh yeah, Jack Conklin. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for that. Yeah, that was actually the next person because he got traded to the Cleveland Browns. Conklin actually got a 3-year deal with the Browns worth $42 million. So I've never actually really heard that name until free agency opened. So he must be really good if they went ahead and gave him 3 years worth $42 million. That's a lot of money. So he must be pretty worth it. Like, we'll have to see because, like I said, more than half these guys I've never even heard of, even though I do kind of follow the AFC South because of who my team is. So there's a lot of players like in the background that I don't know about, or they're even starters that I don't know about. You don't really know everything about your team. So please bear with me on my knowledge of that. Let's see here. Yeah, like I said, Jarrell Casey got traded to the Broncos for a 7th-round pick. The only other moves that the Tennessee Titans have made have been roster cuts. So they have cut their kicker, Ryan Suckup, which shocks the heck out of me because he's a stud when it comes to kicking. Like, he is a really great kicker. Like, with a name like Suckup, like, you gotta know how to kick. Who else is there? Cameron Wake was an offensive linebacker. He got cut as well. Deion Lewis was a running back who got cut. And here's another big one. Tight end Delaney Walker. Now, that is a real surprise. I did not realize that. Okay. Mike, your computer's overheating? Okay. Yeah, I'm actually sitting at a table in my living room right now, so I don't. Yeah, no, my computer's not even overheating. But yeah, well, Mike works through his technical difficulties. I'm sure he'll be back soon. Yeah. While we wait on Mike to figure out his technical difficulties, does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns, anything that they want to say about anything that we've talked about? Is there any teams that you want to talk about on here? Feel free to. Welcome, Cowboys! Oh, thank you, Daniel. I do what I can. I'm awkward and I try my best, but I mean, I wanted to do this with Mike because this is actually what I went to school for. I wanted to, go into broadcasting and go into actually mainly sports casting because I wanted to be a sportscaster for ESPN. I wanted to, do play-by-play commentary for ESPN or for NFL Network or, just one of those, like one of those sports networks. And I haven't really had much time to really practice since I graduated school. I've been so busy with work and, live streaming at the theme parks. I don't usually get a chance to really talk about my other passion, which is sports. And so I figured with everything going on in the world right now, don't really want to talk about the thing going on right now. So, we're not at the parks, so not really much we can talk about when it comes to Disney other than movies. So I figured, why not take everyone's mind off of what's going on and focus on something a little bit more enjoyable, something a bit more fun, and why not football? Okay, Mike, just take your time. You're doing good. I'm just trying to fill in space until we get you back on because I'm basically done with the Titans as far as I was concerned. I might want to get your input on the Delaney Walker getting cut and maybe a couple other things before we move on to I keep wanting to say Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders. It's been the same. I have the same problem with this that I do with the Chargers and the Rams because I have been saying the St. Louis Rams since I was 5. I have been saying the San Diego Chargers since I was 5. I have been saying the Oakland Raiders since I was 5. So with these teams moving, it's really difficult for me to say their new cities when I've been saying their original ones my entire life. It's really difficult, so just bear with me, please. Oh my goodness. Okay. But yeah, just go ahead and ask me anything about what we've talked about, what I think about the draft, the NFL trades. Obviously, we're going to get into the big ones once Mike gets back on here because I really want to hear his opinion on a lot of stuff that has gone down other than the things that we've talked about. Just go ahead and ask me questions about
I'm back. Yes, I'm back.
There he is.
All right. Yeah. Sorry, guys. So I was having some weird technical difficulties. My computer was overheating, but I have it cooling now.
Yeah. So
now I still need to discuss the Oakland Raiders.
Yes. So I literally just finished with the Tennessee Titans.
Okay. Free agents. Yeah, I literally closed all my windows. So Oh, okay. You
Mine-
froze a little bit.
Wait, what?
You froze a little bit, but you're good.
Okay, because like both of your screens went blank. I'm like, no, not me. I'm literally sitting at a table. But yeah, really quick. Ryan Suckup, Delaney Walker getting cut by the Titans. Go.
I mean, Ryan Suckup, like, I was listening to the stream on my phone as you were talking, and yeah, I think Ryan Suckup. It's like, I think he does have a lot to prove, and he is a really good kicker. And it's like you were saying, with a name like Suckup, you need to have a good talent.
Like, wait, doesn't he have like a brother or something that was a kicker too? Because I'm pretty sure there's two of them.
I'm not sure.
Ryan Suckup. I'm gonna look it up right now. Ryan Suckup. But while I'm looking that up, Delaney Walker, go for it.
Oh yeah, did he get signed to Tennessee or did he get signed by someone else?
Ryan Suckup got cut from the Titans, and so did Delaney Walker.
Okay, is Delaney Walker signing with anyone else, or is he still on the market?
I don't know. He got cut. That's all I know.
Okay. Well, it's like, I'm not really sure who he would get signed with.
I don't know either, for that matter. Ryan Suckup. I'm pretty sure that Suckup did have a brother because I do remember that name from my childhood, and I know it wasn't him. Ryan Suckup, brother.
Yeah, Daniel's mentioning the Colquitt brothers. And yeah, I remember, I don't think it was Dustin Colquitt. I think it was his brother that used to be a kicker for Denver at one point.
Yeah, I knew they were brothers, but I thought for sure Ryan had a brother who was also a kicker. Maybe what's going on in the world right now has my mind going crazy. I don't know. Anywho, Delaney Walker. He was what was he? He was a tight end for the Tennessee Titans. He was a very good one, actually. Delaney Walker. Yep, Delaney Walker, tight end, Tennessee Titans. Huh. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about him signing with anyone yet, but apparently he used to play for the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh yeah, that's it, Daniel. It was Brenton Colquitt. But I think he played for us. But I think we got rid of him quite a few seasons ago.
I think you did too, actually.
I think we got rid of him shortly after Super Bowl 50. Because then we brought in Marquette King from the Raiders, but he didn't turn out as good as we had hoped.
No.
So we got rid of him.
No, he didn't. But, okay. That's going to do it for the AFC South. Now, to finish out the AFC West, go for it, Mike, with the. Why do I keep wanting to say Oakland? Oh my gosh. Raiders.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up their transaction history on the NFL site, but it's not working with me. So I'm probably going to have to do it through the Raiders site directly.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Sorry, you sit on a hard chair long enough, you start to get.
Okay. Transaction. Okay. All right. So the only transaction I've seen so far, and I'm only going back as far as February at this point, So on the 5th, they signed Jalen Richard to a 2-year contract extension. So that's not even free agency. They re-signed linebacker Quentin Poling, I think that's how you say his name, and they re-signed linebacker. Oh, they signed linebacker Lamar Houston to a 1-day contract to retire as a Raider.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of free agency, on the 9th, they released linebacker Tahir Whitehead, and actually just today, they signed linebackers Cory Littleton, Marcus Mariota, Jason Witten, Nelson Aguilar, Rod Smith, and Kyle Wilbur.
Aguilar from the Eagles?
I'm guessing so.
Agholor.
Yep, the very same.
Yeah, he was with the Eagles.
Yep. So apparently the Raiders focusing more on offense instead of defense in terms of free agency. Because they signed 1, 2, 3, 4 offensive players and only 2 defensive.
Well, they kind of need to, because in that last season, the Raiders' offense was pitiful.
Oh yeah, like I'm surprised with how Denver started their season. That Oakland didn't play better than us.
Yeah. Well,
but again, I think that's because
I think that goes back to coaching and players personnel as well. But
yeah, like I think Drew Lock coming in from injury, and him kind of having that chip on his shoulder. Like, he played really well.
Yeah.
And now I hope he comes in with that same intensity this season with that chip on his shoulder. Because I'm not the only Broncos person who thinks that Drew Lock is, well, a lot of other people have been calling him the future. But it's like, he only played 6 games, 5 of which actually mattered in the season. So I wouldn't say he's the future yet, because I want to see him get a few more mileage. I want to see him get a little more mileage on him.
Yeah. That's why
Tom Brady at the start of his career, he wasn't the golden boy that he is today. He played horribly. But then once he got familiar with Belichick and his play calling and his play strategy, and he got more familiar, and he got obviously stronger as a quarterback, because when he was drafted, he was skinny. Over his first few seasons, he put on a lot of muscle and a lot of strength, and obviously with that came experience. And then he developed into the quarterback that we all know today. I'm not going to say no and love, because Brianna, you and I both know we do not like Tom Brady, no matter who he plays for.
I can't stomach the fact that I have to live in the same state as him right now. But
well, hey, at least it's not your team.
Yeah, I would have. You would have had to have held me back from driving up to Jacksonville if it was the Jaguars.
Okay, I'm sorry, Brianna, but I'm probably willing to bet $10 that had Tom Brady signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars, you probably would have jumped ship real quick. Because I know for a fact you will never support a team that has Tom Brady under center.
No, let's not get this twisted. I am not a fan of LeBron James, and yet I'm a diehard Laker fan. I don't support LeBron. I support the Lakers. So,
well, see, that's because
so if God forbid that Tom Brady ever join the Jacksonville Jaguars, which I doubt he ever will, because he can't stand us, because we can see right through his nonsense. I would not put his jersey anywhere on my body at all. Like, no Tom Brady stuff for me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and like also that same fact. I think the day that Tom Brady's name ever graces a Jaguar or a Broncos, especially a Broncos jersey, will be a cold day in hell. Would be a cold day in hell.
Hawaii will freeze over if that ever happens.
Exactly. Like Tom Brady has had such a history of playing against Denver. We would be in an uproar. I mean, we'd probably be mad about it and upset at first. But God forbid he ever did sign with us and he started playing and he played well. I think we'd warm up to it a little bit more.
Chris is like, how dare
Yeah,
you?
Chris.
Tom Brady? How dare you go like I'm not going to
Chris,
acknowledge
I'm
this.
sorry. It's like, I mean,
I'm not going to acknowledge this on stream because Mike knows what I know about Tom Brady's career. So I'm not going to acknowledge that because I do not want to start an uproar.
well, yeah, and that's the thing because, like, with Tom Brady, at the end of the day, and it kills me to say this, but he is the GOAT. He is.
No, oh my god! Oh my god! You did not.
Brianna.
Come out your mouth. He is not the GOAT. Drew Brees is the GOAT. He is not the GOAT. Okay? Drew Brees is the GOAT. You are on timeout.
Brianna, hear me out. I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about likability here as the GOAT. I'm talking about statistically. Statistically alone, on record, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. I mean, passing yards, TD, Super Bowl wins, MVP awards. Tom Brady, statistically.
Do not get me started on those Super Bowl stats. Do not. You don't want me to go there.
I'm not going into specifics here. I'm just talking about. I'm talking very broad here. With passing yards, TDs, games won, Super Bowl wins, playoff wins. Statistically, on paper, Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. But now, in terms of fan favoritism, I would definitely say the Drew Brees. Like quarterbacks like Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, they're the greatest of all time.
Mike, I'm not even saying this as a fan thing. I'm saying this statistically speaking. Because if you look at the real stats, it's not Tom Brady. I would argue Drew Brees or even Peyton Manning over Tom Brady any day of the year.
And that's the thing, is that Peyton Manning at one point did have the record, I think, for most games won and most passing TDs. But I think a couple seasons after that, Tom Brady and Drew Brees surpassed him for passing yards and TDs. I mean, we're talking about a matter of statistically on paper versus fan likability. Fan favoritism.
I'm leaving fan favoritism out of the conversation right now. Statistically, I can't even. Oh my gosh!
Well, let me rephrase my statement. Okay, Tom Brady is not the GOAT. He is not the GOAT, but he is one of. He is one of them. Because obviously, up there at the top, you have Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Peyton Manning. Not necessarily in that order, but you have them in there. Tom Brady is one of the top. I'm going to say one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL throughout history.
Okay, that's better.
And it's like, as much as I hate to admit that, I mean, you have to look at how Tom Brady has played through his career. He's one of the most successful quarterbacks to ever play the game, whether it's regular season, postseason, the Super Bowl, all of that. And Brianna, stop with that look, because deep down in your, I mean, you said you've studied broadcasting and analysis and things like that. So in the back of your mind, as much as you don't want to admit it, on paper, Tom Brady is one of the greatest quarterbacks statistically of all time.
Yes, one of the greatest. Not the greatest. He's one of the greatest.
He is definitely not number one. Tom Brady is definitely not number one.
Like I said, I would argue Drew Brees. I would argue Peyton Manning. Heck, I would even argue Joe Montana.
Oh yeah, Joe Montana. Joe Montana was a legend in his day. Tom Joe Montana in his day was basically Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Drew Brees all rolled into one. Joe Montana was breaking records and like demolishing teams throughout his whole career. And I'm pretty sure had he not had that career-ending injury by Lawrence Taylor, that Joe Montana would have gone on to be the greatest of all time, hands down.
Yeah, I'm literally reading all these comments right now. Everyone's upset with me.
Oh my gosh, I gotta highlight this one by Daniel real quick. I
Which
this
one?
one. I thought I saw steam coming out of your ears. Daniel, I'm gonna tell you this. There have been times when Brianna and I are discussing certain things, and there is literal steam coming out of her ears. Just something that I say. It is the funniest, but also scariest thing you will ever experience. Seeing this woman get mad at you, it's funny, but it's scary at the same time. Because two things will happen when Brianna gets that look on her face. She's either gonna laugh it off, or she is going to pounce on you and rip you a new one. Let me tell you, there are many times when this woman has jumped down my throat for something I said, but there have been other times where she is just, I mean, and I'm exaggerating a little bit, but she has just fallen to the floor laughing with something that I said.
You would know he's dated me for almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
You would know.
Daniel
you would know best right now, honey.
Daniel says you all haven't met my wife. Well, Daniel, I know you have a trip coming up here soon, dude. Sorry to deviate real quick from NFL to Disney, but when you guys finally come on your trip, and I pray to God you guys don't have to postpone it because of the thing.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed that we all can hang out one day and do like a double date. And don't you start blushing, Brianna, because I see you're starting to blush over there. Don't you start.
We're going to have a conversation after this, but yes. I hope so too. Like, even if I really hope everything like opens up soon because I'm tired of sitting at home like a bunch of by myself and being separated from this guy. This is driving me insane. Like, that's why we're in different places right now because of this whole thing.
But see, Daniel also brings up a good point. He says, what sucks for us, Mike, is that we think it is funny when we make our women mad. And at first for us, it is funny. But then the gloves come off and they start going at us with bare fists. And then we're like, oh, snap, we messed up.
Yes, there have been plenty of times I have had to put Mike in the doghouse for that. But he knows I love him anyway.
But oh, forget that, Brianna. There have been times when you've given me looks that basically say that I'm going to take you and bury you in the ground alive for what you just said to me. When you get mad, Brianna, you go from 0 to 100 really quick.
Well, they don't say things to me that will get me to that point. Is it really that difficult?
I mean, I'm a guy. I'm stupid. That's just the way of things.
You love me, though. Admit it.
Well, you love me too, so.
Yay. Okay, well, were you able to get that page up for Oakland so we can move on?
That's pretty much all they've done is going back to football. Sorry to deviate. But on the 9th, they released linebacker Tahir Whitehead, and then on the 25th, literally in one day, they signed linebackers Cory Littleton and Kyle Wilbur, and they signed quarterback Marcus Mariota, tight end Jason Witten, wide receiver Nelson Aguilar, and running back Rod Smith.
Okay, the Marcus Mariota one, that's the one I would love to. Okay, he literally just.
That's one signing I want to focus on is Marcus Mariota.
I would have thought if anything, if Marcus Mariota was going to go somewhere, and please not jump down my throat, anybody, I would have probably guessed like maybe the Rams or the Dolphins, possibly, or maybe even Buffalo. That no one hardly ever thinks of, but then again, they already have a quarterback, so why do they need another one? But I mean, maybe even the Jets. I was thinking probably more Miami or the Rams. I wasn't really. Oakland is really the last. Oh my gosh, Las Vegas. The Raiders. Raiders was literally the last team on my mind for Marcus Mariota because I don't know how that's going to work with Gruden, and I know Gruden's an amazing coach,
Oh yeah.
but I don't know if he's really able to work with Mariota on that. And also, Derek Carr has an ego the size of Cam Newton's head.
hmm Yeah, it's like also the fact that Oakland signed Mariota. It's like that makes me raise my eyebrows a little bit because like, does that mean that they're gonna start? Oakland is slow. Sorry, not Oakland. Las Vegas. Does that mean that Las Vegas is slowly starting to give up on Derek Carr, or do they just want to add a little more depth to their QB chart?
I think that they probably wanted to add a little bit more depth, but also I think there's trouble in paradise with Gruden and Derek Carr. Because I even noticed when they were playing against Jacksonville, and if I'm not mistaken, that was the last game in that stadium in Oakland when they got their butts kicked by the Jaguars. Thank you very much. But I noticed that there was a little bit of sorry, a little bit of a tension between those two. So I don't know, quite frankly. I mean, if it's to add depth, then by all means go for it. Mariota, as much as I really don't like to admit it because he did play for Tennessee for the longest time, he is a pretty good quarterback when he is healthy and when he's got the weapons around him. But I mean, I have a feeling that that's gonna end up being a competition between him and Derek Carr. And if Marcus Mariota wins that competition and becomes the starting quarterback, Derek Carr is going to be furious. He's probably going to request for a trade. He's probably going to pull what I'm going to now call a Jalen Ramsey.
Okay. But yeah, it's like because I think even too in the Raiders' final game as the Oakland Raiders when they played Denver in the final game of the regular season, like Oakland just kind of seemed to be out of sync because Denver. Well, number one, I think we beat them at home. We beat them at Mile High.
You did.
But it's like it wasn't a narrow margin. We beat them fairly. We didn't necessarily beat them like a drum by any means, but we beat them somewhat easily. Like, which is surprising because when we played Oakland earlier in the season at Oakland Stadium, they beat us, and it was pretty bad too. Well, it's like, yeah, I think I agree with you. During like the back half of the season in the last 8 games, something started going on in Oakland between Carr and Gruden that they just weren't on the same page.
Yeah.
So I think with them bringing in Marcus Mariota, they're trying to get a little more balance and depth in that QB chart, or it's a sign that they're slowly going to try and get rid of Carr.
Yeah, because Jacksonville played Oakland at the time in December. It was on the 15th. That was the last game in Oakland, in the stadium in Oakland. Literally the last game. They won that game 20-16. Jacksonville did. So I think Oakland had caught back up towards the end, but it wasn't enough. But I could tell that something was off between Gruden and Carr because Carr was acting more like a diva than the time I met him and actually liked him at the time. He was the only Raiders player I actually paid attention to and was impressed by. Tried to get his autograph once, and he skipped right over me and went straight to Cowboy fans. But after signing a Baltimore Ravens fans book, but that's neither here nor there. But I mean,
hey Daniel, I just sent you a message on Instagram, dude.
wait, what?
Yeah, Daniel, if you want me to send you the link to this stream so you can get in this, so you can get in on this discussion, I'll send you the link. So you can put in your.
Oh, Daniel, you want to join us? Daniel wants to join us?
Well, I think since he's one of only 3 people watching and he seems to have a lot of thoughts on this, I think we should get him in here on this and get his.
Absolutely. The more the merrier. Well, I would love to have him on.
Well, yeah, Daniel, I just sent you the link to this on your Instagram. So if you want to get in on this discussion, just click on the link and we can try and get you in here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Chris is saying, yeah, Grizz, join them. So that pretty much does it for Oakland. I mean, unless we get Daniel on here and he wants to put his 2 cents in, then we'll be happy to do that.
But then after that, I think all 3 of us should stay on and discuss the really big signing that we've kind of alluded to in this throughout this entire chat, and that's the Tom Brady signing.
I have such words other than the fact that I cannot stomach that I now have to live in the same state as Tom Brady. I have such words.
Well, I mean, he moved his family up to Connecticut, right?
All good words, well, not all good words, but all family-friendly words, but still. But from what I had read and researched with Tom Brady, he first, before it even came out that he even was leaving New England to pursue free agency, he had moved to Connecticut. So he had moved out of the Boston area into Connecticut. And then it comes out maybe like a few weeks later, like I think maybe a week or 2 after he was seen at a basketball game with Edelman, that he was leaving New England. And then I think maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks later is when it comes out that he was going to try to sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Because once it came out in free agency, they were listing all these teams that could sign him. Tampa Bay, the Chargers, the Jacksonville Jaguars, which I really was not too thrilled that they even mentioned the Jaguars with that, but what can you do? They said that he might end up going back to New England. I didn't believe that for a second. Who else did they say? They kicked the Raiders out of it. They even mentioned him possibly going to the 49ers to reunite with Garoppolo, which I really knew that was false because I don't think that would go over well with Jimmy G.
Oh, wait. I forgot. Daniel, do you have a StreamYard account? Crud, I forgot. I think you have to have a account with StreamYard to.
It doesn't take that much to
get in on this.
Do it. Oh. Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm good. It's just my screen trying to go to sleep on me.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, Daniel. If you feel you have the time to make an account real quick, make one and then we can get you in on the stream. But if not, maybe Brianna and I do another stream like this in a couple weeks once we get further into free agency and more signings or trades get made, and then we can get you in on the next discussion.
Yeah, and we can figure out what's going on with the league too as far as these games are concerned, because as of right now, the NBA isn't even resuming their schedule. I don't know what's going to happen, and with the Olympics, yeah, and with the Olympics being postponed until next year.
Yeah, it looks like Daniel is probably just gonna make an account later and join us in a couple of weeks. And also because in a couple of weeks, I think we'll be closer to the NFL draft.
Yes.
So we can also start discussing possible draft picks for our teams in the first 3 rounds.
Yes.
Based on what needs we still need to fill.
Yeah.
And get in free agency.
Yeah. Hopefully by then this whole thing will go over and we can be in the same room, and that would be easier. But but I mean, I don't mind doing this at all. Like, this is fun.
But yeah, it's like there's also one other person that I want to get on these streams too, and that's Dole's dad. I want to get Jeff in here because he's a Cowboys fan. He's a Cowboys fan. So I'd like to get his perspective from things on the NFC side of the conferences. Because we've only been discussing NFC or AFC, sorry. So I want to get his perspective from the NFC side of things and how those trades are going.
Oh, we should definitely try to get him on the next one.
Mm-hmm. I would definitely like to get him in here.
Yeah, I would love that. Especially considering that I have cousins in Dallas, but I don't think that they're Cowboys fans. I honestly think that they really are Jaguars fans. I'm not sure. I think they just root for Dallas as like guilty by association. But
well, see, and like that's also the thing with me. That's also the thing with me is because like you know this, Brianna, and you guys probably all know this too. I was born in Texas.
Yes.
So now, granted, I support the Texans more than I do the Cowboys, just because I'm a big J.J. Watt fan, and I love what he did after the hurricane that hit Texas. I love the efforts that he went through to aid the families. I mean, I think he started a fundraiser with the hopes of only getting like 100,000. He ended up getting like $10 million worth of donations to aid families.
Yeah, he did.
Daniel, I was born on Fort Hood Army Base in Texas near Killeen. I forget which major city that's by, but I think it's closer to Houston. Hold on, I'll look it up on Google Maps real quick.
My only association with Texas is the fact that I have cousins down there, and also I actually took a trip over there with my mom a few years ago. I think I was in like I was in college actually. No, high school going into college, and we went to a Jaguars game, and that was back when it was David Guard, Jack Del Rio was the head coach, Maurice Jones-Drew. That was back in that day, and I actually got to go into the new stadium. That was a really great experience. I really thoroughly enjoyed that stadium, and the Dallas Cowboys fans are like some of the nicest people I've ever met.
Oh yeah, so Brianna, Daniel just said it's near San Antonio, and he is actually right. If you guys can see on my Google Maps right here, I don't know if you guys can see it because of the glare on my phone.
I can see it now.
See it right there. So I think you see.
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
So to the north, to the northeast / the north is Waco, and then if you go further above that, you're into Fort Worth and Dallas. And then if you go a little bit south, you hit Austin and San Antonio. So granted, where I was born is closer to the Dallas area. Or actually, it's kind of equidistance between Dallas and Houston, depending which way you go. But I'm definitely more of a J.J. Watt fan. And I mean, plus, like, think about it. Like, the Watt brothers, I think it's J.J., T.J., and is it DJ? J.J., T.J.
JJ, TJ, and DJ.
Yep. I mean,
I think DJ is the youngest. I think he's either already in the NFL or he's just about to enter the NFL.
I think they're all three in the NFL now. So JJ plays for Houston, but I think JJ and DJ, I think Jan just said they're now on the Raiders.
Wait, what?
Because he says now 2 of the 3 are on the Raiders. Because I think it wasn't DJ. I think it was TJ that was initially signed by the. Yeah.
No, TJ is currently with the. Hang on.
Oh, Derek and TJ are both on the Steelers. Okay.
I started to say they're both with the Steelers. I just heard DJ just went to the Steelers.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, because one of them was signed by the Steelers. One of them was signed by the Chargers. But I think it wasn't this season. I think it was last season that one of the other brothers went to Pittsburgh.
TJ was always with Pittsburgh, though.
So Derek was signed by the Chargers, but now he's in Pittsburgh.
Yes, and JJ is the odd man out in Houston.
But now think about how much
I adore JJ.
But now think about how much that dynamic is going to change, having those brothers who have played together their whole lives playing on the same team.
Oh, that's going to be Pouncy twins times two.
But now I think one of the brothers is offensive and one is defensive. So they won't be playing together at the same time.
Yeah. You might be right. But they're still on the same team, so.
Mm-hmm. So, I think that'll be good for them. I think it'll be fun for them because they'll be able to actually play together and celebrate together. And okay, I think it'll be good.
Sorry, my phone just keeps blowing up with all this sports news.
Yeah, so anyway.
Yes.
The pièce de résistance, the big signing that we've been slowly alluding to. Tom Brady leaving New England and going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This trade literally shocked me.
It wasn't
because, I thought Tom Brady was going to be a Patriot until literally the very end of his career. I never imagined him going to another team any time in his career. But it's I'm guessing both Tom and New England decided that, I've had a long career here. I've done all I could. I think it's time for me to move to another team, start weighing out my options, maybe start considering retirement. But no matter what happens with Tom Brady this year with Tampa Bay or what he does in the future, yes, and Chris just brought this up. I'm guaranteeing you that Tom Brady will go back to New England and sign a one-day contract so that he can retire a Patriot. And when he does, I guarantee you that New England is going to put him on their Ring of Fame, whatever it is, and that they're going to retire the number 12 forever. It's just like with what Denver has done with the number 18, because obviously Peyton Manning wore that number for a number of years, but I think Frank Tripucka wore that number first, and they retired that number. And the Broncos had to reach out to his family to get permission for Peyton to use that number. But also with John Elway's number 7 and all that, I'm pretty sure New England is going to retire the number 12 if and when Tom Brady comes back to retire. I mean, what do you think, Brianna? What are your thoughts?
A lot of thoughts going through my mind right now.
I mean, was it as shocking for you as it was for me and probably all around the NFL when Tom Brady actually left New England?
In all honesty, I was not shocked that he left New England because I just figured that he finally woke up and realized I'm old. I need to sit down before I permanently injure myself. That was my initial reaction to when it was announced that he is leaving New England, because he literally moved to Connecticut a few days, if not a week, before he sat down with Robert Kraft and said, and they decided to part ways. Because when they announced that he left New England, it was a few days before it announced that he was leaving and going to pursue free agency, because at that point no one knew what was going on. Everyone just thought either he's going to retire or they're trying to work something out to where he comes back to New England. But then once it comes
back to that comment you said about trouble in paradise between Derek Carr and his head coach, I think the fact that Tom Brady's agent started looking at other teams during the offseason and that Tom Brady moved his family to Connecticut. I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think there started to be a little bit of disagreement between Brady and the Patriots organization.
On that?
I think that might have helped nudge Tom to signing with another team. But also on your note of Tom Brady's, he's getting up there in years. He's not playing as good as he once was. I think he's wanting to go to another team where he can kind of dial back his physicality and start relying more on maybe, the running game and shorter passes instead of putting on this big song and dance, deep, accurate passes and, breaking records. I think he wants to go to a team where he can kind of dial it back and rely more on strategic quick plays versus big, grand, spectacular plays.
Okay. What I was about to say was that no, I forgot what I was gonna say. Okay, this is what I was gonna say. The real reason why I think that I will never understand how the heck he went from New England to Tampa, but here we are. But I also think another reason why he left New England was, if you look back to a few years ago, back when Jimmy Garoppolo was his backup, he got hurt. Yeah, Tom got hurt. Jimmy G goes into the game, has a stud season, gets them to the playoffs, and all of a sudden, all this stuff comes around saying Bill Belichick's grooming Jimmy Garoppolo to replace Tom Brady. Tom Brady gets mad. I'm not going to use the other word because I don't know if there's kids watching. Tom Brady gets mad. All of a sudden, Jimmy G gets sent to San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly think that it's happening again. Bill Belichick wants to bring in another quarterback. He wants to bring in new blood to groom that person to possibly learn under Tom Brady too. And then maybe within the next year or two, Tom Brady gets the bench or he retires. I honestly think that did not sit well with Brady, because it's not the first time it's happened between him and Belichick, and it probably was not going to be the last. So I seriously think that had something to do with it. Now, fast forwarding to when it came out that he was talking to Tampa, because I knew Tampa was one of the teams that was possibly looking for a quarterback, because Jameis Winston is on this up and down thing like a dang seesaw with Tampa. There was talks of Jacksonville, which I really did not know why, because we already had two quarterbacks at the time with a possible third. There was talk with the Chargers, even the 49ers reuniting him with Jimmy Garoppolo, which I knew that was not going to happen because of the bad blood that was supposedly between the two when that whole thing went down. I knew San Francisco was going to immediately be out. I had a feeling the Chargers were going to be out too. I knew Jacksonville was going to be out. Who was left? Tampa, maybe even Miami, maybe even Indianapolis. I knew he wasn't going to go to Indianapolis.
There was no way.
No. They hate him up there. No.
Oh, yeah.
Just like they hate him in Jacksonville, they hate him up there too. Let's not get into
it. Him in Denver. Let me tell you. As a Broncos fan, I can tell you firsthand how we feel about Tom Brady.
They probably hate him in Miami, but they probably would have been happy to have him. They had Danny Amendola down there too. But of all the teams, I honestly didn't. Heck, I even saw him maybe making a play for Carolina or Atlanta, but I knew Ryan was not going to give up that starting quarterback job in Georgia without a fight.
Mm-hmm. Although I'm surprised Carolina didn't make a move for him, especially after they cut Cam.
Well,
I'm sure Carolina would have leaped at the chance to have quarterback of that caliber under
Well,
center.
I think at the time it was getting closer to, like, there was more of a deal happening for Tampa.
By the time they released him.
Yeah. By the time that happened, so they made a play for Bridgewater, who actually had a pretty good season last year, filling in for Drew Brees. He actually looked like the old Teddy Bridgewater from when he was in Minnesota. I was very impressed. So that's how that happened, but we'll get into that later. But with Tom going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, my first reaction was I'm being punked or something. Where's Ashton Kutcher? Because this cannot be true. That's literally one of the last teams I would ever expect him to go to, because it's just so far-fetched. Tampa has not exactly been playoff caliber in a long time. So I figured that was not really the case. But then the more I kept hearing about it, the more serious it got. The more I was like, okay, this is really a thing. And then when he signed on the dotted line, I'm like, okay, that really happened. I was really shocked. I really did not expect him to go there at all, to be quite honest with you. I was hoping he was just going to sit down once and for all, but that's not happening. Can't do anything about it. And after he signed on the dotted line, I immediately was thinking, okay, this is real. But I was also running through my mind, something similar happened last year with another player going from one team that everyone thought he was going to retire from to the most unlikely team, and that was Antonio Brown going to the Oakland Raiders. Didn't even really get through all of preseason and training camp because of that whole helmet thing. I don't even think he played one regular season game because he was gone
And went to New England.
New England of all places, where I knew Bill Belichick was not going to put up with this nonsense.
Oh, no way.
Played one game and then was out the door.
Because of the accusations that came up.
Yes, we all know why. We're not going to get into the whole allegations thing because we're not talking about him. That was my immediate reaction. So I'm going to play it by ear. I really hope that is not the case because I really don't think Tom Brady's that kind of guy. But
Yeah, it's like, I think another situation like this that we can compare this to was when Payne's contract expired with Indianapolis, and he was having problems with the Colts organization.
Yep.
Because, like, first thing we hear, Peyton Manning's contract expires with Indianapolis. Next thing we hear is that he's having issues with the Colts organization and that he's considering not re-signing.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
The next thing we know, we hear Denver Broncos is announcing their new quarterback is Peyton Manning. And the whole Broncos fans, Colts fans, the whole NFL as a whole is like, is having like a WTF moment.
Yeah, because that was when Tim Tebow was the quarterback at the time and was supposed to be the quarterback going into training camp.
Oh, yeah, and I remember that, like, because I was going to talk about this earlier, is that I think the reason Tim Tebow didn't last as long as he did, why he was such a one-shot wonder, is because, I mean, I think maybe his contract negotiations, he was asking a little bit too much, considering how fresh he was. Because I think before we signed Peyton, he would have been going into his second year.
Yeah.
And I think he was asking too much for his contract that we couldn't afford. But also, like, I think he was getting flack for the whole Tebow kneel and his religious. The religion thing was being a factor. And earlier in the season, he was having issues with Chris Sims. Or rather, I think Chris Sims was having issues with him. But that's why we cut Chris Sims mid-season. Chris was having issues with Tim getting all this success and media exposure and his whole religion thing. Chris Sims called him out for that, and then we cut him.
Well, he's been getting attention for that since college. That's nothing new. That's not a new thing for Tim Tebow. He's been getting that kind of stuff, that kind of attention since college. But
literally, in his games in Florida, you can literally see on his
John 3:16. Yep.
On his face black, yeah, he would have John 316, and no one was ever giving him problems for that because it made him desirable. It made him favorable.
They made a country song from that verse too. John 3:16. That's one of my favorite songs.
Mm-hmm.
I love that song. But what I heard, and I'm not the only one who's heard this either, was that stupid screen. Was that, and I really hate to say this, I really do, because I know how much you love this man, and I know how much you love the Broncos organization, and it kills me to say this, especially to you. I heard John Elway didn't even really want to draft Tom Brady. Not Tom Brady. Tim Tebow. Oh my gosh, I can't speak.
Mm-hmm. But I think it came down to.
I heard that he was not the biggest Tim Tebow fan, that he didn't like him. And this is someone that Tim Tebow actually idolizes. Like, he literally idolized John Elway.
There are a lot of college QBs who recognize John Elway for his game.
Exactly. But that's what
they might not like the Broncos, but they know who John Elway is.
Exactly.
They know what he means to the game of football.
Exactly. That's what I've heard through the grapevine, was that John Elway was not the biggest Tim Tebow fan. He did not want to draft him at all.
But I think it came down
to really John. Like him, and he really wanted to find him. And he really wanted.
At the time. I think John Fox was our head coach at the time, and I think John Fox made the final call.
Yeah.
Even though you think John Elway, being an executive, would be the one to make the final call, but at the end of the day, it was still John Fox's team.
It depends on the organization. Some head coaches, even if you have John Elway in place as the VP or whatever the case may be, or even if it's a Jerry Jones situation where he literally has control over everything,
or a Robert Kraft situation.
Yeah, or a Robert Kraft situation. But I think Belichick at some point. I think Belichick still has pull in that too. But at the end of the day, in some cases, like with the whole Bill O'Brien thing in Houston, the head coaches play more of a role as to who the team is getting, who are they drafting, who are they trading away, who are they signing, who are they going after in free agency. They have more of a say than anything else. And in that case, I think John Fox had more of a say than John Elway did.
Oh, hey, Joe. Yeah, sorry, dude. Joe Smith. This is the new channel. This is the new channel I just created, so I don't have you as a mod on here yet. Let me rectify that and make you a mod, dude. Hold on.
Hi, Joe. I didn't even know you were on here. I was looking at something else. I'm sorry. Hey, buddy.
I need to make him a mod on my temporary channel real quick.
Make him a mod. Did you make me a mod, by the way?
Hold on. I need to make a lot of people mods.
Well, you can figure me out later, but yeah.
A moderator.
I know I made you a mod on. I know I made this new one a mod on mine.
All right. I just need to find a comment of yours, Brianna.
Oh, hang on. I'll fix that right now.
Yeah, just put a comment in there real quick. Okay. Daniel, I got you. Chris, I got you. But yeah, so Brianna, Daniel sent me this picture on Instagram, and he's wondering if you like his hat.
Where is it?
Do you like his hat?
I'm putting my head down. What does that mean? Chris!
No, that's Daniel.
No, I saw Chris's thing. Chris's comment.
Oh. Yeah, on the stream, Brianna. Do you like Daniel's hat?
It'd be better if it was a jaguar head in the middle. No offense, Daniel. It's all love, like I said, but when it comes to football, the jaguar claws come out.
Oh, yeah, and let me tell you, when it comes to Broncos football, man, the hooves start thundering, let me tell you.
Babe, did you fix my thing where I get a wrench?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Put a quick comment in real quick just to make sure.
Yay! Thank you.
No problem.
Me.
Well, see, Daniel says I would be more scared of a cat. Well, let's be honest, Daniel. Let's be honest, Daniel. What's scarier? What would be scarier running at you? One jaguar or a herd of wild stallions stampeding towards you? What would be scarier?
Seriously.
I mean, granted, one jaguar has the capability to kill you by itself. But what happens if a herd of Broncos just stampedes over you? I mean, like, either way, you're screwed. Although even one stallion probably has the capability of mangling you a little bit. Like, I've been kicked by a horse before, and it hurts.
You kicked by me too, and it hurts.
I mean, granted, being scratched by a big cat, a member of the big cat family, it's no cakewalk. Although, are jaguars classified in the quote-unquote big cats?
Yes.
It's like there's lions, tigers, leopards.
Jaguars are big cats. Let it be.
Okay. But yeah, so back to Tom Brady. It's like, I think you and I can agree that I think there started to be a little bit of discord between Brady and the Pats organization for some reason.
I think, honestly, I don't think it was with Robert Kraft. I really just think it was with Belichick. That had to be, because if you notice over the past, ever since Belichick, no, I won't even say Belichick. It was Kraft. And then it was Kraft. Ever since Kraft got rid of Jimmy Garoppolo and sent him to San Francisco, there has been some kind of little tension between Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I don't know if you noticed or not, but I've definitely noticed.
Well,
it's gotten worse over the years because after Garoppolo, it was Brissett. Brissett was trying to he wasn't exactly Garoppolo, but he was also, there, and he was also getting groomed as well. Then next thing you know, like a year or two goes by, he ends up in Indianapolis, and he's a stud right now because Andrew Luck abruptly retires. But
then I think it was back to what you said. Remember,
and after that, they've had like low caliber backup quarterbacks, and it stinks because those quarterbacks, they're literally going in and out every 5 minutes, and it's not fair to them because Tom Brady doesn't want someone who's going to outshine him.
Well, yeah, because it was like you said earlier. Brady gets injured, Garoppolo comes in, has a stellar remainder of his season, and then he's possibly being considered for the starter at the start of next season. But then, apparently, I'm guessing Brady goes in, has a word with Belichick and or Robert Kraft. Next thing you know, Garoppolo is being sent to San Francisco, and they're drafting Jacob Brissett. But then Brady starts anyway, and next thing you know, Brissett is being sent off to Indianapolis. So I think it's what you're saying. Tom Brady has gotten to that level where he doesn't want anyone taking his throne. It's like the best that I can compare it to, and I'm sorry this won't be a football reference, but in Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, when Gandalf goes to Gondor and he's talking to the steward, but the stewards are like, "Oh no, I'm the ruler of Gondor, blah blah blah. No one's taking the throne from me." It's like that. Once you're somewhere for so long and you're so comfortable and you stay in that position of quote unquote power for so long, you don't want to give that up.
Granted, I've never seen Lord of the Rings a day in my life. I've only ever seen the Hobbit films, but
you understand by now.
But I know what you're talking about. I know what you're getting at. I've seen Game of Thrones. That's about as close as it's going to get for me. But yeah, I do agree with that.
It's like once you stay somewhere for so long and you're in that starter position and you're in that seat of power, you don't want to give that up to some newbie But obviously now I think Bill Belichick has realized that he cannot continue with Brady as a quarterback because Brady, at the end of the day, he's getting up there in years. I think he's one of the oldest, if not the oldest, quarterback playing in the NFL right now.
He is.
Belichick knows that he cannot play with that for much longer.
He's the oldest. I think Brian Hoyer might be a little older, but I think he's the oldest in him. Let me see, Brian, because I think Brady's like 43, or he's gonna be 43. I can't remember.
Yeah, so like mentally, Brady wants to keep playing, but physically, I don't think his body is able to do so. So Bill Belichick finally has put his foot down and realizes he needs to bring in new blood.
He's 34 years old. He's actually shockingly younger than Brady. I thought he was older. I stand corrected.
Yeah, it's like, so Belichick finally realizes he can't carry on with a quarterback at that age. So he finally put his foot down and talked to Robert Kraft, and he's like, listen, I understand Tom's a great quarterback, and I understand what he's done for this organization, but he's getting up there in years, and I don't know how much longer we can rely on him. So I think what we need to do is trade him out and bring in new blood to start carrying this organization. Because there's no way Tom Brady can carry this organization, can carry the Patriots organization another 20 years. There's no way Tom Brady can play until 63 years old.
There's no way, and I don't think he plans to. I think that I remember a statement coming out saying that he said that he wants to prove that he can play past 40 years old, at least to his mid 40s, at the very least. Because even on First Take, I forget who said it. But this person said that there's no way he's going to play past at least 43, 45 years old. There's no way.
Yeah, I think at the very most, if Tom Brady plays conservative and plays smart and doesn't get injured, at the most he can play till 47 years old.
Yeah,
that's the max.
Not even 47. 45, you're done. Sorry, go ahead.
Maybe at the most 46 years old if Tom Brady plays smart, conservative, and doesn't get injured.
That would just mean him standing there like a tree and just throwing the football.
I mean, think about it. Peyton Manning played until the age of, I think, 41 or 42. And Peyton Manning has had 2 neck injuries. Tom Brady has not had a significant possible career-ending injury. Tom Brady is still in, I'm not going to say peak physical form, but in decent physical form for a man of his age.
Well, Peyton Manning is currently 44 years old. How long ago did he retire?
He retired after Super Bowl 50. So that was after the 2015 season. So it's been
2020 now, and he's 44 years old. He just turned 44. So he was in.
So yeah, I think at the time that Peyton played in his Super Bowl 50, he was the oldest quarterback.
He was at least 30. He was at least 38, 39 years old.
Yeah, so I think at the time of Super Bowl 50, Peyton was the oldest quarterback playing, followed right behind by Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning was drafted in the 1998 draft by the Colts. And then Tom was drafted a year later in 99.
Yeah.
So after Payne retired, Tom was then the oldest playing quarterback, and still is. And it's like, and I know Tom Brady was saying this. He would love to play until the age of 50. But I think physically,
it's not going to happen.
Last season, I don't think he would be able to.
It's not going to happen.
Because I think his body is reaching the point where it's like, okay, dude, you've been doing this for 20 plus years. This will be your 21st year playing. You can't keep doing this. And I think Bill Belichick finally realized that, and that's why they traded Brady to Tampa Bay, or not traded him, but released him, and that's why Tampa Bay picked him up.
Yeah, he was released. I think he was literally like at the end of his current contract, and he became an unrestricted free agent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Tampa Bay swooped in.
And now I think.
And yes, Daniel, I am a Stephen A. Smith fan. He's part of the reason why I went into broadcasting.
Okay, now, in terms of playoff contention or Super Bowl contention, I don't think Tampa Bay was a good pick for Tom. But I think in terms of letting him play ball for a few more years, I think it was a good pick. Because it'll give Tom a few more years to play to establish himself as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Now, whether Tampa Bay gets to a Super Bowl or not, I don't know.
I highly doubt it, but
maybe they become playoff contenders into maybe the wild card or divisional rounds.
Yeah.
Maybe they get to an AFC title game, but whether they win is a matter entirely.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think that they are a Super Bowl contender, even though everyone else is saying otherwise. It doesn't, to me, and I looked at this ever since I was a little kid. To me, it doesn't matter who your quarterback is. It doesn't matter who your head coach is. It doesn't even matter who your star kicker is. It matters what you put on the field as a whole. So that means all the components have to be there. It can't just be one thing. It has to be. It has to be. It literally has to be everyone. It has to be the whole soup to come out perfect. And I seriously, unless by some miracle they get all the players that they think that Tom Brady can use to be successful, they are not going to the playoffs, let alone the Super Bowl. Plain and simple. Right now they have a quarterback. They have an excellent head coach in Bruce Arians. They've got maybe one, possibly two people on that offensive line. I forget who it is, but
I mean,
it's like literally one or two people, but it's going to take a lot more to get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers into Super Bowl contention, let alone playoff contention. And to be quite honest, I'm literally just throwing this out there because I've been hearing it since they announced Tom Brady was in the midst of negotiating with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's no way on God's green earth they are getting Antonio Brown. Nobody wants that drama. Nobody.
Nobody wants that baggage.
I know Tom Brady wants him, but he's going to learn really quickly that you are not going to get whatever it is you want. You are not promised whatever it is you want. That may have worked in New England, but Tampa Bay is a whole other animal.
Tom Brady is looking at Antonio Brown's on a piece of paper. He's looking at Antonio Brown based on his stats.
He thinks he can keep his career. That's the thing. That is the thing. He thinks he can keep.
Realize that if you bring Antonio Brown to Tampa Bay, all that drama, all that baggage that Antonio Brown has on his plate right now is going to come with him, and that's going to bring down the morale of the team, and that's going to mess with your chemistry and how you play together.
Yep.
So I think that would make things worse.
Exactly. The same thing happened with McDonaghan too. The same thing happened with that one guy who used to play for the Miami Dolphins that beat somebody that was like hazing one of his teammates. I forget his name, but he's huge as all get out.
And that's what.
No, not Ndamukong Suh. It was someone else. It was before the whole Ndamukong Suh thing. It was someone else. I forget who it was, but he's literally bounced around to so many teams since he got kicked out of Miami because he had such a huge temper. He was literally hazing players and literally throwing temper tantrums, like destroying his cars.
That's it. Daniel just posted it right there. Richie Incognito.
That's who it was. Richie Incognito. Yep, that guy.
He plays for the Vegas Raiders now.
And rightfully so. He belongs there. His temper, he belongs with the Raiders.
Well, it's like it was what you were saying, Brianna. It doesn't just come down to a head coach or a star quarterback on a team that makes them playoff contenders. It takes the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, the respective position coaches, the conditioning coaches, the front office. It's all of that coming together that's what makes a team playoff contenders. Like the 2015 Broncos that went and won the Super Bowl 50, that didn't happen overnight. That took 4 years of changing coaches, signing players, cutting players, and finding and making the team dynamic right to come together.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't just Peyton Manning or Von Miller. It was Chris Harris Jr., Aqib Talib, Derek Wolfe, TJ Ward, who else was on that team? Who else was on that Super Bowl winning? Emmanuel Sanders, Demaryius Thomas.
I was going to say Demaryius Thomas. Wasn't he on there?
Yeah, Demaryius Thomas. It was all those players coming together that made it work.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing in Jacksonville. Look, if I'm not mistaken, the 2017 season when we had that miraculous Super Bowl run. It wasn't just Doug Marrone. It was Doug Marrone. It was Blake Bortles. It was Leonard Fournette. It was Keenan Cole. It was mainly the entire defense that kept us alive. Paul Leslie, Calais Campbell, AJ Boye, Jalen Ramsey. It was literally all those guys that helped us. And if there wasn't for the tiniest mistakes, and also something that happened that I'm not going to say because I'm not going to tick off anybody because it's my own personal opinion, we would have kicked the snot out of the Patriots and played the Eagles in the Super Bowl and possibly have won. For all I know, we'll never know because it never happened. But it took all those components, and ever since that season, we've gotten rid of the players from that team from that playoff team left and right, and it's not okay. That's why we've gone downhill. It is not okay. We had one good thing happen. We've had one good thing happen since that season, and that's that we beat the snot out of Tom Brady in regular season. That was pretty much it. After that, we went downhill.
Oh yeah, but also I want to come back to Tom Brady because, I think in his last few regular season and the playoff games that he played with New England, I think that's when the dynamic kind of started to not sync up between Brady and Belichick.
It got rattled, and let me tell you why I think he got rattled, and let me tell you why I think he got rattled. And it comes back to that 2017 AFC Championship game against Jacksonville. We literally took out Rob Gronkowski. That was I did not agree with how it went down because it was just wrong as all get out. And I was actually really upset, and I adore Gronk. I just wish he didn't play for New England. But I adore Gronk. I didn't like how it happened, but that was a huge contributing factor to us almost being the Patriots. We took out Gronkowski. We nearly took out Tom Brady. And ever since then, because he did get rattled up in that game, he did get a little injured, whether he wants to admit it or not. He has not been the same ever since. I've been saying this since I was a little kid watching the Jaguars play the Patriots, especially when Tom Brady started. We are his kryptonite, pretty much, because we are one of the extremely few teams that can get to him defensively, and even if we don't win, we will shake him up to the point where he starts to doubt himself. We shook him up big time because he lost the dang Super Bowl to the Eagles. So whether he wants to admit it or not, he got shaken up and he has not been the same since. Just like every time we played him, he has not been the same since he played Jacksonville. And I will own that statement until the day I die. It will be on my tombstone. It'll be on my tombstone underneath loving wife, loving mother, whenever that happens.
Yeah, also, it's it goes back to that game last season where Tennessee literally came into Gillette Stadium and made a complete fool of Tom Brady and the Patriots.
I was screaming. I was singing "Oh Happy Day."
But I was kind of happy too because I was happy to see that Tennessee was having such a good end to their season. But it's do you understand how hard it is to go into Gillette Stadium and beat Bill Belichick and Tom Brady in that stadium that has one of the best, if not, I'm not going to say the best, but has one of the best home field advantages of the entire seaboard, up and down the entire eastern seaboard.
Oh, I know. Jacksonville almost did it if it wasn't for that stupid thing that happened. But we almost did it. I know how difficult it is. I've never even been in that statement. I know how difficult that is. It is damn near impossible to do that.
But it's like...
Yes, Daniel, I'm from Jacksonville, born and raised. I was 4 years old when we got the Jaguars. The rest is history. Michael knows the story.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's like, so based on the 2017 season that you're talking about and the recent playoff run that the Patriots had, I think things had been rocky between Brady and Belichick for some time.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when certain players were coming in and going, like with Gronk retiring, and I think Edelman left.
No, Edelman's still there. Amendola left.
Oh, yeah.
Amendola left. Wes Welker left way before Amendola, or they left around the same time because Wes Welker went to the Broncos.
Welker was part of the Super Bowl 48 team that lost horrifically to the Seahawks, and that game still haunts my nightmares to this day.
It haunts me, and I'm not even a Broncos fan.
But it's like, in all fairness, Welker had suffered one too many concussions in his career.
That is true.
It's like the amount of concussions that man has, I'm surprised his brain is even functioning at full power. Because think about it, scientifically, your brain isn't locked in place in your skull. It's literally a picture like an egg inside of a jar with some water in it. When you shake that jar, what happens? The egg is going to hit against the sides of the jar. That's what happens to your brain when you take a big hit.
I'm well aware.
Against the walls of your skull.
I'm well aware, considering I recently had brain surgery. But yeah, I'm well aware.
So yeah, it's like when you're playing that amount of damage that many times in your life, you're not gonna play at full caliber.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it's like losing Amendola. That really started hurting Tom's offensive plays because they were his big targets.
He lost a couple of other players too. I think, what was that one? He kept going and coming. It starts with a D. I can't quite put my finger on his name.
Neither can I. But the running back that the Eagles signed before the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Before that season, the Eagles signed a running back from New England. It's like I don't remember who that running back was, but that was another big Tom Brady tool. Tom Brady loved using that running back because it gave a variety to his game.
I think I know who you're talking about. I can't put my finger on his name, but I know I can see his face clear as day. I cannot remember his name, but I can see his face.
Yeah.
Blunt.
Oh, yeah.
Blunt. That's what I was thinking of, Blunt. I forget his first name, but his last name is Blunt.
Mm-hmm. I think his first name is
LeGarrette Blunt. That's what it was. LeGarrette Blunt.
LeGarrette Blunt.
That's who kept leaving and coming back to the Patriots. That's who kept leaving and coming back.
Mm-hmm. But it's like Tom Brady has been losing his key offensive players, and that's been upsetting him because now he's essentially being forced to play with all this young blood who don't know what they're doing or how Tom likes to run his game.
Yeah.
So finally, at the end of the day, I think Bill Belichick just put his foot down and realized, look, we cannot continue with this guy anymore. He's getting up there in years. He's not as physical as he used to be. And also, it's like preventing us from signing on young blood.
Well, in all honesty, Tom Brady's never been a runner. He may look like he can run, but he may look like he can run, but he can't run. He makes Peyton Manning's running look normal. Because Peyton Manning can't run either, or he runs awkwardly. But I mean, he can run further than Tom Brady can if he tries.
tall quarterback. Tom Brady is a tall quarterback, but
He
also
is.
years, he's not as physical as he used to be. But also, it's like he's never been that much of a mobile quarterback.
Nope.
He only moves out of the pocket when he absolutely has to. Like when he's got a defensive end, like literally right on the end of his towel, will he move out of pocket and consider running or passing from out of pocket?
Yeah.
But like that's a last resort for Tom. And Bill Belichick knows, and I've noticed this with some of the young quarterbacks too. They are very mobile quarterbacks. These quarterbacks will move up in the pocket, move back. They'll move out of pocket if they have to. Quarterbacks are getting more and more mobile. It's not like it was 10, 15, 20 years ago when a quarterback can just drop back on his target.
Stand there, look like a stud, like Steve Young, and throw the football, no problem. You can't do that anymore, sadly. But I mean, Drew Brees is not as young as he once was either, and Drew Brees can bolt if he had to.
Yeah, Drew Brees knows he has to be mobile in today's
Phillip
NFL.
Rivers can run too. I mean, he can't really run that far. As I've never seen him run very far, but the few times I've seen him run, but he can run. Aaron Rodgers can run too. Oh, just
Tom Brady just likes to drop back in pocket, move up if possible, and then throw the ball. He doesn't really like to get outside of pocket because he's then more susceptible to getting hit.
Yeah.
It's like I think, and also like Tom can go to Tampa Bay. He can play for 2 or 3 more years. Add more stats to his repertoire as one of the greatest of all time. And then if he feels like it, he can either retire with Tampa Bay, although I find this highly more likely. He'll sign a 1-day contract with New England, retire as a Patriot, and they'll retire his number.
Yeah.
Man, anyway, we're going on a 3-hour stream here.
And we still haven't gotten any of the other teams.
I know.
We haven't even gotten to Teddy Bridgewater yet.
I know.
Or Cam Newton.
I think what we should do is maybe end this stream, and then in the next few days or next couple of weeks, once we get closer to the NFL draft, do another one of these. And maybe
hang on. Jeff just messaged me. He wants to pop in for a second, but Jeff wants to pop in for a second.
Oh, if Dad wants to join?
No.
Oh, does he have a StreamYard account? You better ask him.
No, he won't. Oh my gosh, he wants to say hi.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was about to say. But really quick to end on the Buccaneers note, they just re-signed Ndamukong Suh to a 1-year deal worth $8 million. So to end on the Buccaneer note, that's what else is new. They can keep Ndamukong Suh down there in Tampa. It seems like he's doing better. What?
Tampa is north of us, right?
No, they're south. Tampa's south. Jacksonville's north.
Oh, I thought Tampa Bay.
No.
I'm still learning my Florida geography.
Yeah, remind me to take you on a tour around Florida. That way you know.
Okay. Yeah, so anyway, I think we're going to end the stream here, guys. And then maybe in the next couple weeks, once we get closer to draft time and the end of free agency, we can get into other divisions and then dive more maybe to the NFC side of things. And then
because I really want to know what you think about Teddy Bridgewater going to the Panthers and Cam Newton getting the boot.
Mm-hmm. We can get Daniel in here. Maybe we can possibly get Dole Whip Dad in on this to give us a look at the NFC side of the offseason. Yeah. But we'll figure that out when the time comes. So, guys, Brianna and I are going to sign off. we hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the NFL offseason so far. Be sure to like, subscribe. Be sure to go check out Brianna's channel. And be sure to go check out all my friends' channel in the description below. Be sure to follow me on all my social media. Be sure to follow Brianna on her social media. I hope you guys enjoyed. We're out of here. Later, guys.
Bye, guys.
Ending broadcast. Apparently, this is going to take a while.
That's fine. I haven't seen your cute face